the realignment and everything that's going on in the league, he's the guy, and the Colts are going to benefit the most. Coming out of the AFC East, where the last 2 years he's been 4-8 and struggled a little bit. Now he's going to AFC South. Peyton Manning's going to benefit immensely from these moves.
All right, guys, a lot of folks are going to see that game coming up shortly here on CBS, the Colts against the Jags. And we'll continue on the NFL Today in just a moment as we take a look at Cleveland's first-round draft pick out of Boston College running back William Green, making his pro debut against the Chiefs. The Browns hoping he'll revitalize a running attack that was the worst in the league last year.
The NFL Today is presented by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37.
Game time approaching here on the NFL Today. And again, for many of you, you're going to see the Jets take on the Bills. And Drew Bledsoe, here he is, taking the field at Ralph Wilson Stadium. He has galvanized that whole Buffalo community.
He really has, and they're excited about their quarterback, but the New York Jets are excited about their quarterback as well, guys. Vinny Testaverde, shades of 98. He looks like he's in a great rhythm with Paul Hackett, especially the rest of those offensive guys around him.
You're going to see a heavy dose of Curtis Martin. They're going to pound that ball up the middle to take advantage of that undersized Buffalo defensive line. Just when you think they're going to run, Lavernius Coates goes up top.
And guys, Buffalo talked about playing the 46 defense, press on the outside against the New York Jets with those young receivers, Santana Moss, Lavernius Coates. Vinny might have a huge day if they're going to play that man press coverage.
Guys, did you have fun?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do it again later. We'll see you later, folks. Enjoy it all.
I like your watch, man.
All right, Jim, from Ericsson Stadium in Charlotte, it's the Panthers and the Ravens. Hi, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson along with my partner Brent Jones. And the Baltimore Ravens lost 13 starters from their playoff team of a year ago. However, they're ecstatic about the return of their running back, Jamal Lewis.
And Jamal told us yesterday he's healthy, he's 100%, ready to go. Full speed cuts in the preseason, not dragging his leg, not limping. Looks great, bodes well for the Ravens offense. On the other side of the ball, Julius Peppers, #2 overall pick in the draft. Great first step, explosive, looking for his first couple sacks today.
So it's the Panthers and the Ravens. Coming up, a special message from President Bush and the NFL after this word from your local station.
Right here on Air Force One.
The president's story. It's the one story of 9/11 you've never heard before, until now, in his own words on 60 Minutes 2, Wednesday at 8, 7 Central.
Check out Hack and all the CBS shows on CBS.com.
WJZ 13 has the Wayne Brady Show weekdays at 9.
CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It is my pleasure to help kick off the 83rd season of the National Football League. Today, the excitement starts all over again, and the tradition continues. In stadiums all across America, some of our nation's finest athletes will again take part in one of the world's greatest sports. Football is a game that tests strength and rewards courage, a sport that emphasizes teamwork and honors individual effort, and an experience that is uniquely American. So today, I salute the NFL for its storied past and for its boundless future. I thank the players for remembering that they are more than athletes to their fans. They are role models to all our children. I wish every player good health and great success. I wish each team the best of luck.
It's the National Football League on CBS Sports. Coming up, the Panthers from Carolina take on the Ravens from Baltimore. Opening kick right after this.
Subway presents Fresh Starts, a glance at teams looking to turn heads this season. Subway, eat fresh. Last season's Super Bowl champion Patriots proved that every team is capable of a fresh start. This season, the Redskins have turned to offensive mastermind Steve Spurrier, while the Buccaneers look to John Gruden for improvement on offense. The Colts hope Tony Dungy will upgrade a struggling defense. All of the new head coaches are starting fresh with the ultimate goal of an NFL championship.
Check this out, 12:17. Same time, same sandwich every day.
Wow. The usual. Hey, how about changing things up today? The usual.
Subway's got something special and delicious.
The usual.
Tell them, Grace.
Right now, Subway has 5 fresh-made Subway Selects, like the delicious sweet onion chicken teriyaki, tender chicken teriyaki topped with a tangy sweet onion sauce, all on fresh baked bread.
What do you say now?
I'd say I have a new usual.
Subway, eat fresh.
Ericsson Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina, kickoff weekend on CBS Sports. And a perfect day for football, 78 degrees, and right now it's sunny, expected to be a little cloudy later. Brian Billick in his 4th year as the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, 10-6 last year, and he did win Super Bowl 35 2 years ago. On the other sideline, John Fox in his 1st season, he spent 5 years as the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. So Carolina has won the toss, and they've elected to receive the football. So doing the kicking, J.R. Jenkins, who's a kickoff specialist for the Ravens, and back deep, Steve Smith, number 89, and Isaac Byrd, number 82 for Carolina. Carolina leads this series 1-0. Their last meeting, December 15th, 1996, and the NFL season is underway here in Charlotte. And the Panthers decide to down it. Isaac Byrd taking a knee in the end zone. So Rodney Peete trots onto the field, making his first start since 1998 when he started versus the Dallas Cowboys while a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. And according to John Fox, Rodney gives them the best opportunity to win right now, Brent.
And Gus, I know there's been a little talk in Carolina this week about the quarterback controversy. Obviously a late decision to start Rodney, but when you're 1-15 the year before, there's no controversy. They're just trying to get a win. Right now, Rodney gives them that best chance to do that.
First down and 10 at the 20-yard line. And they hand it off on first down, and Lamar Smith gets to the 21-yard line. Anthony Weaver with the tackle. Let's take a look at the Carolina Panthers offensively. Up front, Stussy James. Jeff Mitchell is a former Raven. Donnelly and Chris Terry. Backs and receivers. Lamar Smith, number 26, comes from Miami. He rushed for 2,000 yards over the past 2 years with the Dolphins. Second down and 9 from the 21. Smith, the deep back. And they pitch it to Smith over the left side, cuts it in. Smith still running and finally tracked down at the 28, a gain of 7 on the play. That'll bring up third down and 2. And the Ravens, let's take a look. Greg, Kimoyatu, Anthony Weaver. Keep your eye on Kimoyatu, a rookie free agent. Taylor Hartwell, the great Ray Lewis, and Peter Bulwer as the Ravens have switched to the 3-4 defense. McAllister is the veteran in the secondary. Porter Mitchell. And Mike Nolan, his first year as the defensive coordinator, taking over for Marvin Lewis, who went to the Redskins. And Jack Del Rio is the defensive coordinator right here in Charlotte. Third down and 2 from the 28. And a quick whistle. Flags on the play. Marcus Douglas going right after Rodney Peete. He didn't hear the whistle blow.
Delay. Offense. 5 yards. Still third down.
And Gus, Coach Fox isn't going to like that. You have a 3rd and 2. You got a big play coming up early in the game. And now you're looking at 3rd and 7. You just got to get the play in. And obviously the first live bullets of the season going in the first regular season game. There's always some confusion on the sideline. But those are the things that can come back to haunt you. Lose you games. Carolina, this team that we're looking at, lost a lot of close games last year, 8 or 9 games. by 6 points or less. Can't afford to make those type of mistakes.
3rd down and 7 from the 23. They need to go to the 30 for a first down. Here's Pete to pass for the first time. Steps up in the pocket, gets rid of it, but is dropped. Marcus Douglas in on the play, a 4th-year man out of Howard University, and he's a native of Greensboro's Dudley High School.
And I think not only Douglas gets to him, but our old friend Michael McCrary coming in on nickel situations, obviously nursing that knee injury, but a little Rodney Pete sandwich right there, and Rodney was just getting ready to step up, had an open man downfield. But they've got to give him time today against this Raven defense.
Brings on Todd Sauerbrunn, who led the NFL with a 47.5-yard average last season. Went to the Pro Bowl. And Chris McAllister back deep, standing at the 37. Sauerbrunn, high wobbly kick. McAllister retreats, starts from the 26. Up the sideline and tiptoes out of bounds at about the 35, a 50-yard punt and a 5-yard return. So Chris Redmond comes onto the field for Baltimore in his 3rd season out of Louisville. He sat behind Elvis Gerback and Randall Cunningham last year. Struggled a little bit during the preseason, but he still feels very confident. We saw it yesterday when we talked to him, Brent.
And definitely Chris has some tools, Gus, and I think a big part of his success this season is going to be decision making. And I think Brian Billick isn't going to be quick with the hook. He's going to give him time to develop, but he's got to hit that check down receiver. He's got to recognize blitz. He can't throw into double coverage. Don't try to do too much yourself.
Redmond is the 6th different opening day starting quarterback in the last 6 years for the Ravens as they run it over the right side. Not a lot on that side. Brenston Buckner in on the play. Offensively for the Ravens, Jonathan Ogden is the 5-time Pro Bowler. Robach Flynn, Benny Anderson, and Edwin Militalo moves to right tackle. The backs and receivers, Lewis is healthy. He missed all of last season with that knee injury suffered during training camp. The offensive coordinator who calls all the plays is Matt Cavanaugh. 2nd down 10 at the 33. Lewis in motion out of the backfield. Here's Redmond to throw. Redmond under pressure, gets rid of it, and it's broken up. Dan Morgan breaks it up. Alan Ricard was the intended receiver. So let's take a look at the Panthers defensively. Very impressive up front, especially on the ends. Julius Peppers, the 2nd overall pick. Michael Rucker, a great season with 9 sacks a year ago. Dan Morgan moves to middle linebacker. He was an outside linebacker 1 year ago. Cousin comes over from Miami. Howard, Minter, and Grant are the safeties. And Jack Del Rio is the defensive coordinator. He was with Baltimore last year as a linebackers coach. 3rd down 10 at the 33. And a flag on the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, 31, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Your referee today, Walt Coleman.
Jamal Lewis just a little anxious, probably a little play action, or had to get out and pick up a linebacker on a blitz. And Gus, the play before we saw Chris Redmond run around a little bit and float that ball back to the middle of the field. Those are the decisions that you can't make. If you're going to make that pass, you got to throw a bullet. You can't hang that ball up there and let it float around.
Makes it 3rd down and 15 at the 28. They need to go to the 43 for a first down. Here's Redmond to throw. Redmond sticking in there, and he loses it. Buckner with pressure. The pass is ruled incomplete, and the Ravens are forced to punt.
Well, and that's the 2nd time this series that we've talked about Brenson Buckner coming and getting some penetration. Watch big number 99 just splitting right up inside the gut, coming around, a little holding there from the outside and getting to Redmond. Little game, Gus, little stunt coming around the outside, and they couldn't hold him back.
So Steve Smith back deep. A Pro Bowler 1 year ago, starts from close to his 30. Smith still on his feet, looking for daylight, gets over the 35, up to the 37, a 44-yard punt, and a 10-yard return. Coming up, the Panthers on offense once again.
It's 30, September 18th.
No score, 11:54 to go in first quarter of play. Gus Johnson, Brent Jones with, and the Panthers have the ball, first down 10 at their own 38. Hoover in motion, the fullback. Short drop for Beat, fires at sideline. It's caught by Steve Smith, and Smith gets up to the 45. It's a gain of 8 yards. And Brett, what's the book on the Carolina Panthers?
Let's get that book cracked on Gus. And John Fox, he's got to win some games this year. I mean, 1-15 last year. The most important way, the easiest way, Gus, to win games nowadays in the NFL is shore up your defense. They've done that. They've got some great linebackers. They moved Dan Morgan back inside. And we'll come back to the book here in a little bit, but that's probably the first way that you get better in this league. Win games with defense, ball control, offense. Let's see if they can get some first downs now.
2nd and 1 at the 47. Here's the pitch. And this is Muhammad, who lined up in the backfield. Trying to get outside. Excuse me, that's Nick Goings lining up and getting to the sideline.
Well, I'm a slow reader, so let's get back to that book. We got the win games with defense. They've shored that up. They've got some linebackers. What about the X factor? I was so impressed with Deshaun Foster in college. He came in, made an impact in the preseason. He's banged up. He's probably out till the 3rd or 4th game, but he's going to be a difference maker. He might have been the great diamond in the rough. Lastly, offensive leadership. They've got to have somebody step up, and that might be a big part of the reason that Rodney Peete is in there right now. They've got to have some guys take control of this offense.
3rd down, 3 at the 45. Rodney Peete, straight drop back by the side, and it's caught. Nicely done. And it's Chris Mangum, 2nd tight end, picks up 5 yards and a first down.
And big Chris Mangum came back for the ball. He knew where that first down marker was.
And what is this on the field?
Well, it's definitely not a panther.
And it's not a squirrel. Whoa.
It's a rat. It's a mouse.
Oh, my goodness. 1st down and 10. He's camping out in the end zone. Best seat in the house. At midfield for the Panthers. 2nd drive of the game. Mangum in motion. Here's the handoff. Smith over the right side. Cuts it back in. And is finally wrestled down by Ed Hartwell.
And guys, we talked about Deshaun Foster and being banged up and out for a few weeks, but Lamar Smith can make some things happen coming over from Miami. He's more between the tackles pounder type of guy, but he's got some speed in the open field, but he'll stick his head in there and get those tough yards.
Lamar so far 3 carries, 10 yards. Brings up 2nd and 8 at the 48.
I think the fans are still reacting to the mouse.
Yes.
That was the most excitement that they've had around here probably for about a year.
Partner, that was a pretty big mouse.
Okay, we'll call it a rat.
Smith straight ahead, and he powers forward. Hartwell in on the tackle. Now talk about, Brent, this new Ravens defense. They've lost many of their starters from a year ago, and
well, when you talk about the defense, Gus, you talk about that guy, Big Ray Lewis, and going to the 3-4, it leaves the guards uncovered, the offensive guards inside, and so there's a nose tackle all of a sudden instead of playing with 2 defensive tackles, and so it's tougher to keep those big linemen off your all-star linebacker, Ray Lewis. But I'm betting on Ray. He's going to be able to dance around, come up into those gaps, a la Junior Seau with the Chargers, make some things happen. They can shift around. We'll get back to it during the course of the game. But a lot of things you can do with the 3-4.
3rd and 6 at the 46. He firing underneath, and it's caught. Flag on the play. It's Muhammad with the reception. A 10-yard gain, but let's see. And this will go against Carolina.
When you're a young team and you're trying to win some games, you just can't have these penalties. We saw the last series.
Illegal formation, 70, offense, not up on the line of scrimmage, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That's Chris Terry, a 4th-year man out of Georgia, and that's one rule that the officials will be paying close attention to this season, the linemen lining up on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they're not going to let those tackles cheat back a half yard to get it a little advantage versus the pass rusher. But like I was saying, Gus, you can't have those 3rd down penalties, dumb penalties. They're tough to overcome unless you have a really experienced team, and neither of these teams out there today are that experienced, unfortunately.
3rd down and 11 at the 49. Muhammad in motion. Play action. They set up a screen. It doesn't fool anybody. Adalius Thomas tackles Nick Goings. And it's a loss of 3. And they are really high in Baltimore on Adalius Thomas.
Adalius Thomas about 270 pounds, and he's gone back and forth between defensive end and linebacker. He's kind of a tweener in that spot, but he's got some great speed, great intensity.
Sauerbrunn tees it up, and McAllister signaling for the fair catch, has it at the 20. A 33-yard punt, no score. 7:32 to go in the 1st quarter from Charlotte.
love playing two-hand touch.
Here's September 26th after CSI.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. Ford, no boundaries. And by Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold, down, easy.
Welcome back to Ericsson Stadium, and some problems on the field. Brent, your relatives are trying to get receipts, and they have to cage him up.
Caught the rat.
First down and 10 at the 20. Here's Lewis, nowhere to go as he stutter steps at the line of scrimmage, leans forward, and Michael Rucker in on the play.
Gus, time to read another book. Let's check out the book on the Ravens. Let's see what Coach Billick has to do this year. First of all, he's got to establish that identity. This is a far cry, this team, from the 2 years ago Super Bowl champions. So many guys are gone now, a lot of young players. They've got to keep their big guns healthy. They cannot have Ray Lewis or Peter Boulware or Jamal Lewis go down. And lastly, consistency at quarterback. And we talked about Chris Redmond making good, solid reads and solid decisions.
Second down and 11, Redmond in trouble. Redmond dancing, fires, and it's caught at the 20. Todd Heap, the tight end who replaced Shannon Sharp as the starter. Sharp back in Denver, and it's a 2-yard gain.
And Todd Heap is going to have a big year this year, especially if you've got a young quarterback. Your best outlet for a young quarterback is a big target at tight end. Work the middle of the field. You don't have to throw those deep balls down the sideline. And Todd Heap does a great job of coming back for the ball. That really gives a young quarterback confidence, and Chris Redmond talked about that. Expect 80 catches for Big Todd this year.
Third down and 9 from the 21. Shannon Sharp had 74 catches a year ago. Here's Redmond looking. Redmond fires to the sideline. Caught at the 42. Nicely done, Brandon Stokely, cradling the football and keeping both feet in bounds. And it's a first down, a gain of 21.
And Chris Redmond does a tremendous job of letting that play develop. He actually has to elude Mike Rucker, but watch him lead Brandon Stokely. Put it away where only Brandon can catch it or nobody catches it. Stokely does a great job getting down, covering up the ball. Let's watch big Chris Redmond's reaction. Yeah, let's go offense. Let's get this thing going.
Redmond, the son of a coach, a native of Louisville. His father coaches high school football in Louisville. First down and 10 at the 43. To the sideline, Heap making a diving catch. Todd Heap with the soft hands, and he's a big man at 6'5", 252 pounds. Mike Minter covering on the play.
And I know that was only a 5-yard catch, but gosh, watch the big man. He's got some great athletic ability. Does a nice job of getting his hip over. The ball's thrown on his outside shoulder. Watch him pivot away and slide back, get those arms out, cover up the ball. That's impressive for a tight end.
Second down, 6 at the 47. Underneath, Heap again, close to the first down. Dan Morgan with the tackle. Log on to NFL.com and get up-to-the-minute scores and stats. Plus, follow all of your favorite players all day long at NFL.com or on America Online. Enter keyword NFL.com. So the Ravens starting to get their rhythm here on offense. Remember, Redmond failed to produce a touchdown during the preseason with the first-team offense. They need a yard. Third down and 1. Lewis lowers his head. I don't know. He's close. Chris Jenkins plugging up the hole. It will depend on the spot.
I think he's going to get it by about a half a ball from this official down here, walking down and marking it from the bottom on up. And that's what this Ravens team missed last year. They missed Jamal Lewis pounding the ball in there. He was lost for the whole season. They kept a lot of veterans. They were making another Super Bowl run. They wanted to defend their title, and the minute Jamal Lewis got hurt, it was all out the window.
And just think about the players the Ravens have lost. 2 years ago, they won the Super Bowl. Last year, a very successful season at 10-6. And the Ravens pick up the first down, but they've lost Shannon Sharp to Denver. Qadri Ismail to the Colts. He was their starting wide receiver and leading receiver. Jermaine Lewis to the Houston Texans. Patrick Johnson to the Dolphins. Elvis Gerback retired, and Terry Allen is out of football right now. First down and 10 at the 47. Here's Redmond changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Redmond, short drop, looks to the sideline, and it is gone at the 10-yard line. Travis Taylor cradling the ball and hauling it in deep inside Carolina territory.
And what a beautiful touch Chris Redmond put on that ball. But Gus, watch Travis Taylor at the end just accelerate. Chris Redmond put some nice air on it, but right now Taylor just accelerates right by the defensive back, cradling that ball. What an impressive burst of speed. I did not think he was getting to that ball. Keeps both feet in bounds. Big play.
Ravens knocking on the door after the 36-yard gain. First down and 10 at the 11. Lewis lowers his head and gets to the 7. Michael Rucker with the tackle. But Travis Taylor, you have to speak about him because he went back and gained some weight during the offseason, between 10 and 15 pounds. He said he didn't lose any speed, but the extra weight will give him more strength to get off the line of scrimmage.
Well, they see so much in him here in Baltimore. They've got so much potential, but he hasn't been consistent. He's got to make the plays, make the catches. That was sure a great start to the season. That's going to develop some confidence.
Play action. Redmond looking in the back of the end zone. Touchdown. Ron Johnson, the rookie receiver out of Minnesota. His first catch in the National Football League, and it's a touchdown.
And Gus, you know what sold that play? Chris Redmond's play action fake. Watch him duck down. Watch him.
He looks like Boomer Esiason here.
There you go. The old Boomer Esiason. Duck your head. Throw it down. Dan Morgan bit on the play action. Tight end right in behind him, right in the back of the corner. You've got to be impressed with Chris Redmond, and you see him develop confidence in that series. A couple 5-yard passes to Heap, got his feet under him, started throwing the ball a little further downfield.
And this play will be challenged.
And they're going to say that he didn't have his feet in bounds.
The red flag that the coaches, the head coaches, keep in their pockets if the...
Carolina is challenging the ruling on the field. The player caught the ball for a touchdown.
Let's take another look.
You're going to see Ron Johnson come back in towards the ball. He's got to have possession and 2 feet. There's one. Does he drag that back foot? It looks to me like that foot is in bounds. The official's going to have the view right there. But he made the call. Now remember in replay, Gus, that the call stands unless there's indisputable evidence to overrule that call. And since we had a referee right on top of that play, and you see him drag that back foot. Great job by Johnson dragging the foot. I think the question is, does that front foot touch the line? That front foot stays in, Gus. The back foot drags. That will be a touchdown. That was the call on the field. One heck of a call on a bang-bang play. We don't give these officials enough credit, but those things happen so quickly. And that was a great job by a young receiver keeping his back foot in using the old drag technique. And I love the way that you brought up the Boomer Esiason.
He looked just like, but where's Ickey Woods?
I'll tell you what. I saw Boomer out there in the field. I didn't see that play fake today with Michael Strahan. I saw fear in Boomer's eyes on the NFL today.
And you don't see that too often when it comes to Boomer Esiason. So Chris Redmond, very nice start to his career as a starting quarterback in the league. A 3rd-round draft pick out of Louisville. He was a star as a prep, a star as a collegiate player, and there is no reason that he shouldn't be a star in the National Football League. He has all the tools.
And you know the great thing about that touchdown for Chris Redmond? Now the whole preseason and didn't lead a touchdown drive and all that malarkey is out the window. Nobody cares anymore. The preseason's over. That was the greatest thing.
After reviewing the play, the receiver had his right foot down, drug his left foot in the end zone for a completed catch and a touchdown.
So the touchdown will stand. So Brian Billick sees Chris Redmond throw his first touchdown as a starting quarterback to Ron Johnson Jr. And Ron Johnson is the son of Ron Johnson Sr., who played cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers from 78 to 84. And as a rookie in 78, he was on the Steelers Super Bowl team. Young man from Detroit, Michigan.
That's a lot of pressure when your dad's got a Super Bowl ring.
Exactly.
He said, okay, what are you going to do now, son?
But he's a big, strong, athletic receiver, and they're high on him in Baltimore. Matt Stover in to attempt the extra point, and it's good. So far, so good for the young man out of Louisville. The Ravens take a 7-0 lead.
Ford truck by Nextel.
Chris Redmond on the sideline. His team up 7-0, and a look at the scoring drive, 9 plays, 80 yards. They took up close to 5 minutes in the key play, that 36-yard pass to Travis Taylor to get the ball to the 11. So the Ravens send it away, and Steve Smith takes a knee in the end zone. The Panthers will have it at their own 20. Back to Carolina right after this.
It's worse than I thought. I just had a guy.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM. E-business is the game. Play to win. And by T-Mobile. Get more minutes, more features, more service.
Welcome back to Ericsson Stadium. Chris Redmond 7 for 7 on the drive as he marched the Ravens right down the field and into the end zone. Baltimore with a 7-0 lead over the Panthers. Panthers take over, first down and 10 at their own 20. Brad Hoover, the motion man. Here's the handoff to Smith. Bounces it outside. Tries to get around the corner. Tiptoes out of bounds. Chris McAllister right there to usher him out of bounds. And let's take another look, Brad, at the touchdown. Nice play.
And Gus, when you have a Jamal Lewis, this is what happens when you play action fake. Now watch Deion Grant, the safety right here, covering the wide receiver. Watch him just stare into the backfield. See that step right there, that hesitation? That allows Johnson to get in behind him, creating that gap in the hole, and that is a touchdown, and that's why play-action fake only works when you have a back that can make an impact. The Ravens didn't have that last year with Jamal hurt.
Second down and 7 at the 23. Here's Pete, pump fake, looks up top, he's got a receiver. Muhammad wide open, and Rodney Peete overthrows him, and there's a flag in the backfield.
Boy, and the flags thus far for the Carolina offense have been momentum killers.
Personal foul, 56. Defense rubbing the passer, hit to the head with the helmet. 15 yards, first down.
That's Ed Hartwell, the second-year man out of Western Illinois.
And Ed Hartwell had a great preseason for the Ravens. Sometimes when you're a young player, you're playing your first regular season game, you get a little excited. Rodney Peete, the ball's out, and it's a direct blow to the head with the helmet. That's what they called. It wasn't necessarily late. It was using that head as a spearing weapon, and they're going to call that. They've got to protect the quarterbacks, Gus, as you know, in the National Football League. That's where your bread's buttered, at the quarterback position.
So a first down for Pete and the Panthers at the 38. Here's Pete to the sideline. It's caught. Wesley Walls turns it up and gets to the 45, make it the 46. Make that Chris Mangum. A gain of 9. Coming up on the Nextel halftime report, join Jim, Dion, Dan, and Boomer for all the scores and highlights, plus a preview of the men's U.S. Open final. That's all coming up on the Nextel halftime report.
And Gus, we've been talking about the quarterback play for the Ravens, but how about Rodney Peete? He's been very accurate, other than a couple of third down penalties. He's been putting the ball right on the receiver's numbers and really looking very comfortable back there in the pocket.
Second down and 1. Here's the pitch play. Pete looking up top for Muhammad. He has him at the 20. Muhsin Muhammad with the big 33-yard gain. And the Panthers are now marching it down the field.
And going against Chris McAllister, who doesn't usually get full. You're going to see McAllister down here at the bottom of your screen. Looks like he loses the ball. I didn't think Muhammad was open, but Rodney went ahead and made that throw anyway. Threw it to the middle of the field. Let your wide receiver run. You see Muhammad does a good job adjusting to the ball. And Chris McAllister just got his shoulders turned and never recovered.
Muhsin Muhammad, 50 catches for 585 yards. However, the previous 2 years, he had 100 catches apiece. This time, down the seam, touchdown. It's Wesley Walls. A 20-yard touchdown from Rodney Peete.
Wesley Walls, watch him get a little head and shoulders outside, and he comes right up the gut. The two-deep coverage, lays out, safety coming across. Big-time catch by a big-time tight end. And Gus, you got to talk about Rodney Peete. He has been deadly accurate thus far this game.
Brings on John Casey to attempt the extra point. It's good. And we are tied at 7 apiece. Rodney Peete throwing a strike, and he ties his ball game up here in North Carolina.
The Icebreaker Ol-Attack is powered by 6 diesel engines.
This offer ends October 5th.
Watch Wesley Rawls run the seam route, and Rodney Peete's going to put it right on his numbers. And you talk about a guy who's made an impact. Wesley Walls in his 14th year coming back from knee surgery, the 2nd year in a row. Look at laying out. That knee wasn't bothering him. And Gus Wesley played with me my first couple years in San Francisco.
5-time Pro Bowler.
14 years, the old man. So I have to say that at least I hope I taught him 1 or 2 things along the way the first 3 or 4 years he was there.
He told us he just wanted 1 more touchdown.
Yeah, he's underselling
firmly
it.
Planted in cheek, that is.
That's exactly right.
Sauerbrunn kicks it away. Javen Hunter picks it up at the 15. And Hunter is ambushed at the 21. An 8-yard return. Ryan Allen with the tackle on special teams. Thursdays this fall on CBS, every 30 seconds someone disappears. You've read the stories of families torn apart. Now meet the team who can find the missing and bring them home. Without a Trace Thursdays this fall after CSI on CBS. Wesley Walls with the touchdown, and Carolina ties it up at 7 apiece. First down and 10 now for the Ravens.
Over here.
At their own 23. Jamal Lewis, the lone setback. Redmond to pass on first down, looks underneath. It's Heath, and he is crushed. Holds on to the ball. But what a hit by Reggie Howard, a third-year man out of Memphis State.
Let's listen to that hit one more time by Reggie Howard. Whoa. That was a good shot. Reggie's smart enough to know on big tight heap, you go low, drill your shoulders right in there, and flip the big tight end up and over.
And that will take us to the end of the first quarter with the score, the Ravens 7 and the Panthers 7. We'll return to Erickson Stadium after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
More mystery. More picnics.
It's an all-American U.S. Open men's final. Andre Agassi meets Pete Sampras in a classic battle. The world's toughest tennis, next on CBS.
I'm Horatio Kane, head of CSI Miami. In a crime scene, evidence and clues disappear every second. So I use one scientific tool that can make a difference in finding justice for the victim. My gut.
David Caruso stars. CSI Miami premieres CBS Monday, September 23rd.
Right here on Air Force One.
The president's story. It's the one story of 9/11 you've never heard before.
I didn't need any legal briefs. I didn't need any consultations. I knew we were at war.
His flight across America, the White House threatened with attack. What happened behind the scenes? 60 Minutes 2, Wednesday at 8, 7 Central, followed by the documentary 9/11.
Second down 6 for the Ravens at their own 27. Todd Heath sliding across the line of scrimmage. Jamal Lewis goes straight ahead. Not a lot of room. Gus Johnson and Brent Jones with you here at Erickson Stadium. And for two teams that, well, one team, the Ravens, they lost a lot of players. And for the Panthers, who struggled last season, they both look pretty sharp to start this year.
Yeah, how about they're throwing the ball a lot more than we expected? That's pretty impressive. And for a little quarterback controversy in both cities, I think both these quarterbacks are throwing the ball awful well. Conversely, you'd have to say that they're not getting enough pressure on them right now if you're a defensive coordinator.
Redmond taken down as he releases the football. Incomplete pass.
Big Mike Rucker, Gus, who had 9 sacks for these Panthers last year, number 93, getting back and making a push. You see Julius Peppers getting pushed by, but there's Big Mike Rucker, who just signed a $24 million contract. He's going to be around for a while. And that's a great sign for this Panther defense. You got Peppers, you got Rucker, you got Big Dan Morgan in the middle playing linebacker.
Smith on the short punt. And Smith gets to midfield and inside Ravens territory. A 32-yard punt by Dave Zastadil and an 8-yard return. Panthers in good shape when we return.
Authentic Guinness draft in a bottle.
Best starting field position of the day for the Panthers. They start at the Ravens 49, and Rodney Peete, well-traveled in the NFL. He's played for the Lions, the Eagles, the Skins, the Raiders the last 2 years, and now landing with this Carolina team. He's 6 of 7 for 73 yards, and they hand it off to Smith, who goes straight ahead, picks up a couple on the play. Now Monday on CBS, see why CBS Monday is America's best night of television, starting with the King of Queens, followed by Yes Dear, Everybody Loves Raymond, and Beckert. And don't miss CSI on a special night, plus the Late Show with David Letterman after your local news Monday on CBS. 2nd down and 8 at the 47 for the Panthers. Tied it up on a Rodney Peete to Wesley Walls. Touchdown down the seam on their last drive. Here's Peete skipping back to the sideline. Incomplete. Looked like Lamar Smith turned the wrong and looked over the wrong shoulder as he went down the sideline.
Just one of the names we hadn't mentioned thus far is Peter Boulware for the Baltimore Ravens. I was just wondering where he was. Rodney Peete finds out where he is. Bang! Look at that shot. Peter Boulware just signed a new deal with the Ravens, as well as Ray Lewis about a month ago, and locking up their young players. And we talked about the salary cap purge this Ravens team had to make, and they've still got an awful strong nucleus of some young guys, 3rd, 4th, 5th year. And I think that's the way to go about it. They had to just let out all the salaries.
3rd down and 8 at the 47. Carolina 1 of 3 on 3rd down conversions. Peete gets out of trouble, sets up the backside screen. Hoover, flag on the play. He picks up the 1st down. Brad Hoover getting to the 36, a gain of 10.
And guys, usually when a play takes that long to develop, it's an illegal lineman downfield. These offensive linemen aren't usually that patient. That was a long time to wait to get downfield and make your block.
Ineligible downfield, 70, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And that's Chris Terry once again, the 2nd time he's been flagged for a penalty.
And that screen set up perfectly. It's just you got to coach your offensive lineman to wait, and your natural inclination is you want to count to 4, and instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you go shooting downfield? And
yeah,
they nail you.
Got to set it up. 3rd down, 13 at the 48. They need to go to the Ravens 39 for a 1st down. Here's Peete. All day to throw down the seam. It's caught at the 34-yard line. Wesley Walls, a gain of 18.
And if this Ravens defense is going to be susceptible one area, it would be in the secondary. Other than Chris McAllister, a lot of young players there. Watch tight end 85, Wesley Walls. He's going to come across on a deep cross route, top of your screen. Rodney Peete waits for him to clear Ray Lewis, the linebacker, and find that hole inside. Rodney Peete, another outstanding throw, but Wesley Walls knows how to find those open holes as good as any tight end in the National Football League.
And so far, Rodney Peete pitching a good game. On a 3rd and 13, they pick up the 1st. Peete again. This time it is Muhammad. Goes into the end zone. Touchdown. The Ravens stopped playing. They thought the ball was on the field. But Muhsin Muhammad somehow kept it alive, got up untouched, and sprints into the end zone.
And I wonder if he picked it off his leg. He reached back so far, the Ravens thought it was incomplete. But Gus, the whistle never blew. If the whistle doesn't blow as a player, you've got to go make the touch, the tackle, or whatever. But watch Muhammad, very athletic move. And you know what? I think the way that ball hit bounced off the ground.
And the Ravens are signaling for a challenge right now.
And it just looked like it briefly. If we can stop action, and it looks like it bounced off the ground or scraped the ground. And that's what Coach Billick is saying in not so many words.
And the red flag is on the field once again. And I believe the Ravens have a great opportunity here.
Baltimore is challenging the ruling on the field that it is a completed catch and a touchdown.
Looks like that ball did hit the ground.
It just was a quick bounce. If we can slow it down, and maybe we'll be able to see it from this angle. Rodney Peete just throwing it a little bit behind. I don't know if you can tell from that angle. Now remember, Gus, the other thing is they called touchdown on the field. So unless they find irrefutable evidence, this is the angle.
Yes, it did hit the ground.
Yeah, it bounced off. You saw the tip. He pulled the tip, and then it rolled right back and hit the ground. I think they're going to go and rule that incomplete right there. The second part right there, that tip was on the ground. It's one heck of an effort. But remember, like I was mentioning, it's got to be irrefutable evidence. And it's still tough to tell on that angle, but it looked to me like the tip of that ball bounced up a little bit. But the call on the field was touchdown. The whistle never blew. And that's one thing that a young defense isn't used to. You've got to play to the whistle. This veteran Ravens defense would have never fallen for that trick.
Muhsin Muhammad, 212 receptions the previous 2 years to lead the NFL in catches. But he has struggled through a number of injuries.
Heck of an acting job if that did tip, huh?
Oscar award winning.
And you know what, as a former player, sometimes you don't even know. It happens so bang, bang. You think you picked it clean, and that ball, that tip's just on the tip of the grass, right there. That tip, you can see the ball kind of bounce up, and it banged off his knee and went back to the ground. They've got to call that incomplete. I'm a little bit more definitive here on that after that last shot.
So the Ravens, if this is overturned, will force the Panthers to have the ball at the 34-yard line.
And this Panthers team needs Muhammad to step up and have a big year. Had 102 catches a couple years ago, down to 50 last year. He can be too much a part of this offense. They've got to get him involved. He needs to have an 80 or 90 catch season.
Seventh-year man out of Michigan State, 22 career touchdowns. So let's see. Here comes Mr. Coleman.
After reviewing the play, the ball went through the receiver's hand, hit the ground, and then bounced up to the receiver. The pass is incomplete. Will be second down and 10 at the 34-yard line.
And this officiating crew has been flawless today, Gus. They've agreed with us every time.
Yes. We've agreed with them.
That's right. Whatever way, it's good. But you see his hands on it right there. If he could just pull up, and he's starting to pull there, but that right off the knee. If the first one wasn't touching the ground, for sure the bounce and ricochet off the knee brought the ball back down to the ground. But still, Muhsin Muhammad did a heck of a job of even picking that ball and getting up and running into the end zone.
Panthers still in good shape, though. Second and 10 at the 34. Rodney Peete, 7 of 10, 91 yards and a touchdown. Nick Goings, Brad Hoover in the backfield for Carolina. Goings is the deep man. Muhammad in motion. Delaying handoff. Nick Goings dives forward and gets to the 32. Ray Lewis in on the play.
And we haven't called Ray's name a lot today. I think Carolina surprised Baltimore a little bit more with throwing the ball. And so Ray's been dropping in pass coverage a little bit more in that 3-4 defense. But I look for them to loosen things up as this year goes along. They're going to be sticking him over those A gaps right over the center and over the guards and blitzing and bouncing in and out and having a little bit more opportunity to make some big plays rushing the passer.
A gain of 2, third down 8 at the 32. They need to go to the 24 for a first down. Here's the pitch. Goings with daylight, breaks it back. with the tackle, but it's a 20-yard gain.
Goings, Gus, looking very impressive. Second-year guy out of Pittsburgh, and one of the toughest things to teach a running back is when you see the crease, hit it. You see him see it right there once and then twice. Bang, cuts back, finds the lane, and covers up that ball, puts his head down. That was an explosive hit into that hole.
Makes it first down and 10 at the Ravens 12. The pitch, this time Smith. Smith over the right side, gets inside the 10, down to the 8, a gain of 4. Anthony Weaver tripping him up.
And I think one of the strengths of this Carolina team is its offensive line. They played together. They only gave up 32 sacks all of last year, which was 5th in the National Football League. And I mean, that's on a 1-15 team. That's tough.
And Dan Henning, the offensive coordinator, what an illustrious career he's had. Had a chance to win a Super Bowl with Joe Gibbs in the Washington Redskins. Has been a head coach in San Diego and Atlanta and at Boston College. The perfect man for the job with this young, inexperienced Carolina squad. Here's Pete. Batted down at the line of scrimmage. Nicely done by Anthony Weaver, the second-round pick out of Notre Dame.
And thus far, Dan Henning and the Carolina Panthers have done a nice job of mixing up the play calling. Couple passes in a row, couple runs, pass. You don't know what you're going to get. Different formations. They do a little motion. And Dan Henning, I think, all the places he's been, I really enjoyed watching him 98, 99, 2000 with the New York Jets and what he did with that offense and moving guys around and different formations. And it looks like he's bringing that same style here to the Carolina Panthers.
Balanced rushing and passing. 10 rushes, 11 passes in this game for Carolina. Goings trying to get outside. And this time he's wrapped up. May have lost a yard, but a flag on the play. Ray Lewis, first man to him. Peter Boulware on the bottom of the pile.
Boy, you see Ray Lewis read that run and come crashing through there.
And a clip against the Panthers.
Yeah, you don't usually get a clip call. That's usually from an outside receiver or wide receiver coming in and blocking low.
Personal foul, crackback, 82. Offense, penalty is declined, 4th down.
So a crackback block called against the Panthers.
Because when you're a wide receiver, you got
Isaac Bird.
You got a block above the waist coming inside.
Now Thursday on CBS, this summer's hit show just keeps getting hotter. Don't miss an all-new Big Brother Thursday at 8 on CBS. So the Panthers will attempt a field goal. John Casey in to attempt a 27-yarder. It's up and good. And with 9:40 to go here in the second quarter, the Panthers take a 10-7 lead.
Premiere CBS Friday, September 27th.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. Gap, and by Saturn, makers of the View, the redesigned L Series, and coming soon, the all-new Ion.
And welcome back to beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina, where the Panthers lead the Ravens 10-7. As you take a look at the scoring drive, and very impressive for the Panthers so far this year. They only won one preseason game, their final game versus Cleveland. But to be up 10-7 after going 1-15 last year is a very positive sign. Ravens start from the 5. It's Hunter. And Hunter gets over the 20 up to the 24, a 20-yard return. 9:35 to go in the second quarter, and the Ravens will be on offense after this.
What do you see?
I see no excitement in your life.
He's on top of his game.
I am an adrenaline junkie.
The best sport in late-night television. David Letterman. He's in a league all his own.
Can I have my ball back?
Carolina up 10-7 under first-year head coach John Fox. 9 minutes and 35 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Chris Redmond has looked strong. First down and 10 at the 24 for Redmond and the Ravens. He's 7 of 10, 81 yards and a touchdown. Redmond passing on first down to the sideline, fires a bullet. First down. Nicely done by Brandon Stokely, a gain of 12. Now, which offseason addition, this is a question for you, Brent, will have the biggest impact on the NFL in 2002? Drew Bledsoe to the Bills, Ricky Williams to the Dolphins, your buddy John Gruden to the Buccaneers, Spurrier to the Skins, or Tony Dungy to the Colts? Cast your vote at NFL.com. Let me hear you.
Well, my heart says John Gruden, but I think the smart part of me says Tony Dungy to the Colts, where they've had no semblance of defense for 4 years.
Jamal Lewis over the left side, not a lot of room. Lewis gang tackled on the play. First man to him, Chris Jenkins. And talking to Brian Billick yesterday, he felt that this is the best offensive line that they've had since he's been there, including their Super Bowl season.
I think he really felt comfortable with the guys. And one guy on that line you got to give credit to today is Edwin Mulatalo, the right tackle, because we haven't talked about Julius Peppers making an impact yet. So the big man is doing a good job out there. I know getting some help with the tight end as well, but still keeping Peppers out of the backfield.
Second down, 9 at the 37. Pump fake Redmond. Looking underneath, dumps it to Lewis. And Lewis wrestled down at the 41 by Mark Fields after a gain of 5.
And Jack Del Rio, the former linebackers coach for the Ravens, who's come over to the Panthers as defensive coordinator, was talking about his linebacking crew with Morgan and Fields, and he said these guys are going to really make an impact in this league, and a very strong linebacker upgrade for this Carolina Panther team. They had Morgan playing at outside backer last year, brought him inside right off the bat this year, and it's much more comfortable position for him.
Third down 4 at the 42. They need to go to the 46 for first down. Here's Redmond. Fires. Oh, beautiful pass. Great catch. Redmond threw that ball. I mean, he thread a needle. 15-yard gain to Stokely, but there were 3 white jerseys around the ball.
And you're exactly right. And at the top of the show, I said, hey, Chris Redmond's got to be smart. Don't force the ball into double and triple coverage. Well, how about right there? You talk about threading the needle. What a great job. And let's watch what they're doing to Julius Peppers out here. Todd Heap, one-on-one. Then you've got one of the backs coming back, another tight end, taking a shot at him. And
first down 10 at the 43. Here's Redmond again, flag on the play.
Looks like they might have been a little quick on the Baltimore side. Maybe left guard was moving before the snap.
Prior to the snap, false start, 64, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And you jinxed Edwin Mulatalo.
I did.
You jinxed him.
I like the big guy. I tell you what, I was just giving him some strokes and saying what a great job he's done. And usually they only call your name when you're a lineman when you have a holding penalty or a false start. And I was thinking to myself, gosh, you know, I talked about a lineman and he didn't even do anything bad.
There's Julius Peppers. He has his hands full with Mulatalo. But Chris Redmond, very positive start, 10 of 13, 113 yards. They hand it off to the second man through. It's Jamal Lewis, and Lewis chopped down at the 40. Mike Minter in on the play, a gain of 8.
And you're going to see Jamal Lewis make a little move here and there and some cuts. Watch him read that block on the outside on Peppers, and watch him see inside clog, bounce it out, come back inside, find the hole. And Julius Peppers, he's getting penetration, but he's getting chipped by a back. That's when you bring 2 guys out on him. He's getting a tight end over him, so they're getting a little bit of a double team. And he's coming right into this league as a force, so he's drawing all the attention.
Second down 10 at the 40. Redmond pump fake, sets up a screen. Lewis has it with blockers. Lewis is wrapped up at the 35. A big collision as Reggie Howard and Mike Minter take down Jamal Lewis. But I tell you what, for a guy that sat out all of last season with a knee injury, doesn't look like that knee is causing him any problems whatsoever.
And he told us the only thing he gets is once in a while, once every week or two, a little achy in the knee. But he said, hey, it's not something that I drag. I don't limp. I feel like it's 100%. I feel like I'm game ready.
3rd down 2 at the 35. They bunch up the top of your screen. Now Heap comes in motion. Redmond sprinting out, incomplete. They brought the blitz, and it really caused some problems for Redmond. Mark Fields pursuing Chris Redmond.
Jack Del Rio told us to watch for Mark Fields, and that's what you can do with all these linebackers. You see him shoot inside the gap. And Chris Redmond just gets rid of that ball before he gets sacked. I guess we got a long field goal attempt right here.
So Matt Stover in to attempt a 53-yarder. Is 9 for 22 lifetime from 50 and out. And he pooch punts it. And the ball is downed inside the 5. Great job. John Jones, backup tight end on special teams, hustled down the field and kept it from going into the end zone. 5:07 to go on the second. 10-7 Carolina.
Follow the team of missing persons experts who answer the question, where did they go?
Clock's ticking. Let's get out there.
CSI and Without a Trace will keep you guessing. CBS Thursday, September 26th.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by KFC. There's fast food, then there's KFC. And by Gateway, where you've got a friend in the business.
Gus, push punch is only good if you get it inside the 20. Matt Stover kicks it. John Jones, backup tight end. Watch this little backhand, Gus. Deft move for the big man, little backhand. Speaking of backhand, we're going to have some tennis coming up here not too long
Agassi versus Sampras.
Whoa.
2 of the great players in the history of professional tennis. First down and 10, though, for the Panthers at their own 2. Here's Smith on the hitch. And he will give the Panthers some running room, getting up the sideline and picking up the first down. And when a quarterback throws that hitch pass, what does he see? Does he know that man that he's throwing it to, his receiver, will be locked up in one-on-one coverage?
Well, he's looking for a little off coverage. If they're not getting bump and run, he's going to go ahead and check to it right now, Gus. And you see Rodney Peete, that great veteran experience, put the ball in the hands of your playmakers. Steve Smith went to the Pro Bowl last year as a kick returner. Second year, wide receiver, earned the starting job. He can really make some things happen out on the field. Get him the ball.
First down and 10 at the 14. Delayed handoff. It's Lamar Smith. Smith with running room over the 20 up to the 22. And Hardwell with the tackle, but after a gain of 7. And Lamar Smith, I tell you, he's the kind of man, he doesn't talk to the media, feels very uncomfortable, feels that he was burned by the media in the past, but here's a player that goes out and plays hard every single time he steps on the field. You have to credit how hard of a worker he is.
Just a consistent performer and got a lot more talent, I think, than people give him credit for. You know, 1,000-yard back for the Dolphins here a couple years ago, and he can really bang it up inside.
Rushed for 800 plus last year. 8 carries, 29 yards. This time Smith with the catch at the 30 up to the 35. Out of bounds, first down.
Now, in every NFL telecast, you always hear announcers talk about coaches saying, hey, we got to take what they give us. Well, right now, they're giving them Steve Smith. The Ravens with this young secondary are playing off coverage, playing some zone, playing off. And so there's an 8 to 10-yard cushion. Go ahead and take the ball. Rodney Peete just throws it right out there to him. And you're going to have to start tightening down that coverage.
And
go ahead. It looks like the Ravens are going to keep using that.
Smith so far 2 catches, 27 yards. Didn't have an opportunity last year to play much wide receiver, but Dan Henning giving him the opportunity this season. Smith skipping through the hole, and now that Panthers offensive line starting to push the purple jerseys backwards.
And it's been a few years since we've talked about the purple jerseys getting pushed backwards. And Dan Henning has done a tremendous job of changing up these calls, keeping everybody off balance. You see Coach up there in the box looking very cool, calm, and collected, just getting ready for his next genius call.
And he was the offensive coordinator in Detroit when Rodney Peete was there back during the 92-93 season, started 20 games for Henning, and he was instrumental, Dan Henning, in naming Rodney Peete the starting quarterback because he's very familiar with this Panthers offense, and it's a new one. Lamar Smith. And Smith up to the 45. Flag on the play, though, on the opposite side of the field at the 40.
And we're going to get an offside call against the Ravens. And we talked about
offside, 58, defense. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Peter Boulware just lining up a little bit, getting anxious to rush that passer. And you talked about Rodney Peete, and there's the guy he replaced, Chris Winkie, who did an admirable job last year, if you can say that, for a team that was 1-15. He was a rookie quarterback and hasn't necessarily done anything wrong. Missed all of spring mini camps with the shoulder surgery, though, and so hasn't had as much time in the system with Dan Henning, and I think that's a big part of the decision to go with Rodney Peete, Gus.
First down and 10 at the 48. Hoover bursting through the hole, and Hoover carrying people with him gets down to the 42. Ray Lewis tackling him from behind.
And you're hearing the Hoove call from the fans here in Carolina. The Hoove coming right up at you, right through the middle, the heart of the Ravens defense, which if you're a Ravens fan, we've said you haven't seen the purple jerseys get pushed around a whole lot the last 3 or 4 years.
That was a gain of 11 yards, and we're coming up on the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go. Carolina driving with the ball and the lead.
With their incredible power, sleek design, and affordable prices, Gateway's new computers are a great value. But now they're a better value than ever, because right now you can get free shipping with the purchase of select Gateway desktops. Call 1-800-GATEWAY for details.
Yes, Thursday, September 19th.
Coming up on the Nextel halftime report, join Jim, Dion, Dan, and Boomer for all the scores and highlights, plus a preview of the men's U.S. Open final. That's all coming up on the Nextel halftime report. Sixth play of the drive for the Panthers that started at their own 2. First down and 10 at the 41. Peete sets up deep in the pocket. Underneath, Mohammed unable to hold on to the football. He was open and did have it at the 25.
And Rodney Peete saying, dang, we had that one, put it right on the numbers, and spent that time out going over to the sideline talking to John Fox saying, hey, Coach, what are we going to do? Are we going to play for a field goal? Are we going to try to score with 2 minutes left, score a touchdown? And you see that ball right where you want it, and looks like Musa Muhammad just got his hands crossed, and that ball just bounced right off.
Second down 10 at the 41. Peete, delayed handoff, Lamar Smith looking for room. And Smith is wrapped up by Anthony Mitchell after a gain of 6. So talk to me, Brent, about this Carolina team. They look impressive under Coach John Fox in their opening game.
Well, they've been very balanced. They've made good decisions. Rodney Peete has not only made good decisions, but he's made spectacular throws, putting it on the numbers time and time again. We've seen Lamar Smith pounded up in there. We've seen a couple other backs get some yards, and that offensive line is driving the front 3 for the Baltimore Ravens 3 and 4 yards deep right into their linebacker.
15 rushing attempts for the Panthers, 14 passes. Pretty balanced. Here's Peete again. Under pressure, and Marcus Douglas takes him down from behind. Marcus Douglas with the first sack of the day, and the Panthers will be forced to punt it away.
And Gus, that's how you stop that passing game. They've given Rodney Peete too much time to throw. Marquez Douglas coming right on the outside. You see that big glove smack the shoulder of Rodney Peete, and it's all over at that point.
Sauerbrunn needs to place this one inside the 20, and he pops it in the air looking for the bounce. He gets it. Picked up by McAllister out of bounds at the 15. A 33-yard punt and a 3-yard return. Now, Mondays this fall on CBS, the network that brought you CSI takes you to a whole new world of crime scene investigation. CSI Miami. Mondays this fall on CBS.
And Gus, that was a huge sack by Marquess Douglas, because if he doesn't do that, the Panthers, I think, are going to try at least an attempt a field goal. And that definitely put him out of field goal range. So he just saved his team possibly 3 points.
Redmond and the Ravens take over at their own 15, 32 seconds remaining, and the Ravens will settle for a 3-point deficit. That should do it. Some very positive signs, though, for both teams. Rodney Peete looked good, the veteran, as he jogs into the locker room with a 3-point lead. But Brian Billick has to be pleased with the way his third-year quarterback, Chris Redmond, played. The defense struggled a little bit, but 10-3 with 19 rookies on your team, you'll take it. 10-7 the score at halftime. Jim Nantz will be along with the Nextel halftime report after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel Halftime Report. Nextel, bringing you wireless solutions.
Welcome, everyone, to the Nextel Halftime Report from our studios here off Fifth Avenue in New York. Jim Nantz with you, of course, joined here by Dan, Dion, and Boomer. We've reached halftime down in Carolina, and the Panthers, some good play here out of Mr. Rodney Peete, mistake-free, and they're leading by 3.
Winky's not happy, but Rodney Peete is actually looking good. You can't run the ball, but he's hitting his tight ends. The guys are being successful. This is not the Baltimore Ravens defense you've seen last season.
All right, Peete, 9 out of 14, 118 yards, and the touchdown pass to Wesley Walls. Let's go around the NFL today. Boomer, we talked earlier today on the NFL Today about special teams play, touchdowns specifically. Week 1, we got one here.
Here it is. Chad Morton running right up the middle. Great 3 blocks by his offensive lineman right there. A missed tackle by a Bill. Another missed tackle. Chad Morton brought over from New Orleans last year in a trade right before the season. Great pickup by Terry Bradway.
Boy, he can fly.
A big concern for the Jets coming into the season was their run defense. Here's Travis Henry with a 3-yard plunge. He already has 74 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Teddy Cottrell start worrying about that run defense again.
All right, the Jets are driving in the final seconds there of the first half. The Lions got on the board here. McMahon ran it into the quarterback, but Ricky Williams in his debut, 62 yards and a touch for Miami. Cleveland and Kansas City. This has been a wild one out there at Cleveland Brown Stadium. Dion, what's been the story here?
Cleveland quarterback Haley Holcomb, not Tim Couch. Play action pass. Finds the wide open Dennis Northcutt touchdown. Somebody had to blow a coverage. I hate secondary who blows coverages. Right now, a little razzle dazzle for you.
What about this blown coverage? There's nobody
Kevin Johnson throws a deep pass to Quincy Morgan for the touchdown, putting the Browns up 20-14.
And look at Holcomb with Couch out. Good numbers, those 2 touchdown passes. The Chargers just got in again. What a blitz this is over the Bengals.
Can you say ugly? Here's Corey Dillon getting thrown for a 3-yard loss by Jamal Williams. The Bengals thought they had a pretty good offensive line coming into the season. Their 5th starting quarterback in 5 years on opening day. Gus Frerotte throws an interception. Alex Molden steps right in front of Peter Warrick. Oh, boy, the Bengals are getting dominated. And here's Drew Brees, that young quarterback I said was going to have the best year of all the young quarterbacks, finding Josh Norman for a touchdown in the backfield, in the back of the end zone.
Just a moment ago, LaDainian Tomlinson from a yard out. On the other side, Dillon has 5 carries, -2 yards. 20-0. San Diego, bring back Boomer, they're saying.
Oh, please, Boomer. I like my new team.
Indianapolis down to Jacksonville. Ceremony before the game. General Tommy Franks was honored. Tony Dungy, though, for the Colts, making his debut as the Indianapolis head man. He had to love this drive, Dan.
Peyton Manning had all day to throw in the first half. He sees Padre Ishmael right there, 6 yards inside his own cover for a touchdown. Brunell making a big mistake in the first half. Marcus Washington steps in front of a pass to Fred Taylor. And look at this run. This will ruin your day if you're a quarterback. Throw an interception right before the half.
By the way, that Manning drive, you saw the hookup with Ismail, was 15 plays, 96 yards. Philadelphia, big game here from McNabb. He has thrown 3 touchdowns, winning down to Tennessee, and Kearse was taken off the field, his left foot x-rayed. Arizona right now trying to spoil Steve Spurrier's debut. Plummer rushing for a touchdown there for the Cardinals. Mike Tice, the new man in Minnesota, his Vikings leading over the Bears. Culpepper with a rush touch there. And Atlantic and the Falcons do it for the second straight year at Lambeau. Michael Vick, impressive.
Woo, man, what numbers.
He rushed for a touch, threw for one as well. Atlanta's up 11 over Green Bay. As we continue on the Nextel halftime report, we'll get a report from the U.S. Open men's final. Agassi and Sampras coming up later today on CBS, and we'll continue in just a moment.
One night, 2 cases, 3 bodies.
How are you at solving puzzles?
See why piecing together the evidence is murder. CSI on a special night, CBS Tonight.
On September 11th, our heroes rose to their greatest challenge.
We gotta get everybody out!
One film captured the story of their experience. Witness the only footage from inside Ground Zero in this piece of history that's amazing to watch. 9/11, CBS Wednesday, presented by Nextel.
Chief Petty Officer Johnny Bivera with the United States Navy. I'm a combat photographer. When you're in a situation like where I was in Kandahar, yes, you want to be there if something were to erupt, because if you're not there, then who's bringing back imagery of what happened? And you got to carry a weapon. You got to be part of that fire team. If things get so bad that you have to put the camera down, then you got to be able to fight back. The people of Afghanistan, some of the eyes that I look into, there's a lot of pain, and they've been at war for the last, over 20 years. When you see a child sitting there all by themselves, you know, you're thinking, where's the parents? Do they even exist? But it's something emotional. It's something that's going to make American public stop and look at that photo and say, I understand. What can we do to make things better over there? When that photo evokes emotion in such a strong way, then I think I've done my job.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel Halftime Report. Nextel, bringing you wireless solutions.
And welcome back to our New York studios. Jim Nance on the Nextel Halftime Report. This special day after football, the men's final at the U.S. Open. Let's head out there for a report. Now from Dick Enberg along with Patrick McEnroe.
What a Grand Slam day at the USTA National Tennis Center. An All-America pairing that borders on the incredible 32-year-old Andre Agassi. Pete Sampras, he's 31, and Patrick McEnroe chants for fans to cheer senior greatness.
That's right. This could be the last time, Dick. I mean, we thought it was going to be the last time when they played in the quarterfinals last year. Sampras won that in a classic and 4 tiebreak. But, oh, we've got one more chance to enjoy these two.
Well, they've met 33 times, and back in 1990, they met for the U.S. Open Championship when Pete was a 19-year-old, fresh-faced phenom.
Wasn't it remarkable, the run of Sampras back then, beating Lendl, beating my brother John, then Agassi in the final, and of course, what has he done? Well, only win 13 majors in singles. That's the most of anyone. Agassi with a chance to win his 8th major today.
If Sampras wins, it'd be 14-7. That sounds like a football score. Rivalry continues at 4 o'clock Eastern. Agassi and Sampras for the U.S. Open title right after football. Jim?
All right, thank you, Dick. I can't wait one more time. That's coming up after football. We'll continue on CBS in just a moment.
Robbery Homicide Division premieres Friday, September 27th.
Does a pair beat a straight?
Yes. What? Gina, 3? Gina. Oh, she's been sending me pictures. On the phone?
Pictures of what?
Things she can do. Oh. I'm out.
When a wireless phone lets you take and send pictures,
that ought to do it.
That's M Life from AT&T Wireless.
This September, get Comcast. Get educational back-to-school programming on Discovery, TLC, and National Geographic. Get exciting fall sports action on ESPN, TNT, and Comcast Sportsnet. And get HBO for the most anticipated TV event of the season, The Sopranos, on September 15th. Call right now and get 30 days of digital service and 30 days of HBO free. Plus, call today and get connected tomorrow. That's right, 30 days of digital free and 30 days of HBO free, plus next-day installation. This September, get Comcast.
For 25 years, he's been fighting for Maryland's families. He's Dutch Rupersberger.
As a prosecutor, Ruppersberger fought crime and drugs. As Baltimore County executive, Dutch Ruppersberger helped to attract thousands of new jobs. He fought for new money for schools, and he managed the county's finances so well that Baltimore County was rated one of the best run in America. Now, as a candidate for Congress, Dutch Ruppersberger's plans are what we need in Washington. Dutch Ruppersberger for Congress.
You've been shopping for cellular.
Yeah, I don't know which way's up anymore.
I think I can help. You'll be fine now.
At Sprint stores, wireless becomes clear with helpful salespeople, the best selection of phones, and great deals. Right now, get 3,500 minutes for $34.99 a month and save up to $100 on select PCS phones. Sprint stores, wireless made clear.
WJZ 13 has the Wayne Brady Show weekdays at 9.
Welcome back to Erickson Stadium, kickoff weekend in the National Football League, and our score at halftime, the Carolina Panthers 10 and the Baltimore Ravens 7. Gus Johnson along with Brent Jones, my partner. Pretty well played first half.
Very well played, especially for a couple relatively young teams, and I'm actually surprised how much both teams have thrown the ball.
All right, let's take a look at the highlights from the first half.
Well, Chris Redmond, great play action fake, reminiscent of Boomer Esiason to Ron Johnson back in the end zone. Rodney Peete enters back with a nice toss right down the seam. Wesley Walls, the tight end, laying out for the ball, making a big grab.
The big tight end with the catch, and the statistics from the first half, what jumps out at you?
I think the biggest thing is the rushing yards for the Ravens, 10 yards. You'd say they wouldn't even be in the game with 10 yards, but they've made some big plays. Chris Redmond throwing the ball, and here you see Chris Redmond and Rodney Peete both having some success. No turnovers, no bad, dumb passes into triple coverage, and actually some pretty great passes actually from two quarterbacks, one very young, one very old.
So we're ready to start the second half of play, and Carolina will send it away. The Ravens will get an opportunity to go on offense as we start this third quarter. And what do you expect to see from Brian Billick's Ravens as we begin the second half?
You know, I think that they're going to go back to their game plan, which is a little bit more Jamal Lewis. I think maybe they got out of that. They had some success. You saw Chris Redmond make some big throws. But still, their bread and butter this year is going to be Jamal Lewis pounding it up inside, and I think they're going to go back to that here in the third quarter at least.
There's Coach Billick. He's decided to put on a ball cap to start the second half. Little sunny out there as we began the game, 75 degrees. And we were expecting some clouds, but it's a beautiful day here in the Queen City. So Todd Sauerbruch sends it away, and back deep is Javen Hunter, and Hunter takes a knee in the end zone. So the Ravens will start from the 20, unable to get anything going on their kickoff return game because Sauerbruch has done a good job nailing them deep as Chris Redmond trots back onto the field. Very solid first half. Led him on a scoring drive as he threw the touchdown to Ron Johnson Jr. in the back of the end zone.
And when we sat down with Chris yesterday, he just said, hey, I had a great week of practice as well as the offense. I'm really focused, and I'm just going to go out there and develop some confidence, and he's really done that. You feel him getting more confident as this game goes on.
So the Ravens start from their own 20. Jamal Lewis with a big opening, breaks it outside. Lewis turns on the Jets, tries to get around the corner, and is dragged down from behind at the 38 by Deion Grant.
Now that's the Jamal Lewis that we saw and that we know from a couple of years ago. And you saw him feel that cutback. Watch, he's going to get outside, come back, and feel it, and come right back all the way across field. You see him get spun around a little bit. That knee doesn't look like it's bothering him all.
Not a bit. Jamal Lewis rushed for 1,364 yards, a franchise record 2 years ago. And as we've mentioned, that training camp knee injury sacked him for the entire year last year. Meanwhile, incomplete pass, Travis Taylor, the intended receiver. He had that one in both hands, but there was some pressure by Mark Fields.
You love these book things, don't you?
Yeah, I love them.
Let's get the book going on Jamal Lewis, huh? Let's open it up and see what it has to say. Well, one of the big keys for this year is the workload, and he's still not in complete game shape, so you got to monitor his carries. Didn't have as many in the first half. I think that's doing okay. He's going to get more confidence with reps as the game goes on. You're going to see him get stronger and stronger, I believe, especially after that last run.
Play action. Redmond under pressure, flag on the play. They find Ricard, and Alan Ricard gets to the 43, make it the 44, a gain of 6. But there is a flag in the Ravens backfield.
And I think center number 62, Mike Flynn, got a little bit of jersey there.
Holding, 62, offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
And you don't want to have your quarterback get beat. There's a little jersey. Hey, Mike knows better than that. He's made some good blocks, but he's grabbing Chris Jenkins' jersey, and when it starts spreading out like that, and I can see it up here, that's a bad sign.
You usually get nailed for a holding penalty.
That's exactly right.
Second down 20 at the 28. This time, Redmond starts in the shotgun. Redmond underneath. Jamal Lewis makes the first man miss, and look at the burst of speed all the way up to the 45. Dan Morgan with the tackle.
And when we were reading the book on Jamal Lewis, we were talking about him developing confidence as the game goes along. He feels better about the knee. This is the first real live game of the season. You're going to see him come right out of the backfield, catch the ball, and burst upfield. There's a move right there, and he's going full speed, head down. He is not worried about the knee whatsoever.
16-yard pickup. Brian Billick told us that they want to give him between 20 and 22 carries today. Third down 4 at the 44. Redmond sets up, fires, and it's broken up. Nicely done, Terry Cousin. Cousin, who signed as a free agent from Miami, where he was the nickelback last year, came to Carolina and has found a starting position.
And Brandon Stokely was all over the officials saying there was interference. But you see Cousin do a great job off arm coming down. You hold with your inside arm and you string your outside arm across that ball. Nice job breaking up the play.
And Smith with the fair catch at the 11, had running room. But there is a flag on the play all the way back at the 39. It was a 45-yard punt.
And it looked like they might call holding here, defensive holding on number 52, Brian Allen, who not only held but kept holding after the play.
And it goes, excuse me, as the referee says, it goes against Walt Coleman. He says it goes against Carolina.
Yeah, I was nervous there for a minute.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing, Gus, is it's going to probably be after the kick. And so Carolina will hang on to the ball. But, boy, if you grab a guy and throw him down prior to that ball being kicked, that can be a real costly penalty.
Holding, 52, during the kick. Half the distance of the goal from the spot of the fair catch. First down.
So the officials will spot the ball at the 5-yard line. Brian Allen, his overzealous play hurting his team.
Football is violent and dangerous for young adults and cubs alike. The feast is a frenetic free-for-all, and the dominant male is...
The meat is mine. Here. Case closed.
It's good to have you home, sweetie.
Log on and purchase by September 26th for Southwest Airlines $39 to $99 internet specials, only at southwest.com.
You are now free to move about the country.
Now enjoy Guinness anywhere. Authentic Guinness draft in a bottle.
Pushing myself to the limit is what this is all about, and I need an antiperspirant that can keep up. Now there's new High Endurance Clear Gel. Try it. If you don't like it, Old Spice will buy you a stick of something else. A clear gel that strong? I'm there. New Old Spice High Endurance Clear Gel.
My dad's gonna build us the coolest treehouse.
I don't have a clue what I'm doing here.
Well, let's see what you got. Oh, wow, a treehouse.
He can build anything.
Never built anything before.
Relax, I think you're in the right spot.
He wants a trap door.
Balcony, rope swing.
I'm gonna suggest 16 penny.
You can do it.
You sure I can do this?
He's a genius.
Trust me.
All right.
Ten to 7, third quarter action. The Panthers with the lead over the Ravens, and the ball at the 6. First down and 10. Here's Smith. Breaks it back and goes forward maybe a yard. Kelly Gregg in the middle coming up with the tackle. Now next Sunday, the NFL on CBS rolls out doubleheader action, including Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champion Patriots visiting Vinny and the Jets, while the Titans take on the Cowboys. And in the late game, many of you will see Ryan Greasy and the Broncos battle Terrell. And the Broncos battle Terrell Owens and the Niners. Check your local listings, beginning with Jim, Dion, Dan, and Boomer on the NFL Today. Second down. Here's Pete to pass. Looks up top, has a man. It is incomplete. Steve Smith, the intended receiver, went up high and unable to come down with it. Ed Reed, the first-round pick out of Miami, the safety, 24th overall, covering defensively.
You saw Ed Reed get over, and he was really a ball hawk at the University of Miami. He is number 20, and he's coming over there just a little late, and that's part of the thing, part of the learning curve. And you see Alvin Porter with the one-on-one coverage, but Ed Reed, the first-round pick of the Ravens this year, is going to have an impact, and it's tough to have an impact initially as a rookie, but he'll hit some guys, and you'll see him come up with some big interceptions before this year is over.
Third down 10 at the 6. Here's a pitch. Smith follows his blockers, breaks it back, hops over a man, but goes right down at the 9-yard line. And the Panthers are forced to punt it away.
And Gus, it goes back to that holding penalty on the punt. Really came back to haunt them. It backed them up. They weren't able to spread out the offense, and now they're punting from out of their own end zone.
So Todd Sauerbrunn about 5 yards deep in his own end zone.
How about the guns on Todd Sauerbrunn?
He's the biggest punter I've ever seen.
I think his arms are bigger than yours.
Yeah, they are. They should be. He's a pro athlete.
They're not bigger than mine. He's got a little tattoo going there, huh? That guy, he looks like a bodybuilder.
He looks like a tight end. McAllister stands at his own 49. Wobbly kick. Takes a bounce, and it's a Carolina bounce. Downing, well, going out of bounds at the 40. A 48-yard punt. No return.
I love playing two-hand touch.
Dealer and get rolling. But hurry, this offer ends October 5th.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. Nike. And by Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold down easy.
Welcome back, and the Ravens down 10-7. Chris Redmond, the numbers, very good numbers. And the Ravens have their best starting field position of the day at their own 41. Handing it off. Jamal Lewis breaks it outside, stiff arms a man, and finally goes down. Tackled by Deion Grant, the safety, but after a gain of 5.
And we've seen a lot more Jamal Lewis here in the second half, and we figured that Brian Billick would go to his strength, and that is Jamal. And you can see he's just heating up. It feels like he's really getting into that zone, just what they'd like to do. And the more that he heats up, the better that play action pass is going to be. So you're going to look for a little bit more play action fakes here coming up.
They see it right here. 2nd and 5 from the 46. Stokely goes in motion. And they hand it off to Lewis again, and Lewis gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard, tackled by Dan Morgan. He got him around the ankles. And Lewis is not the only back trying to come back from an injury-plagued season. Let's take a look. Eddie George with the Tennessee Titans had a career-low 3 yards a carry. Jamal Lewis. Fred Taylor had that groin injury, and Edgerrin James hurt his knee against Kansas City last year. He talked to Deion Sanders and told Deion during the NFL Today that he is 100% healthy, and you will see when he steps on the field. 3rd down 4 at the 47. They need to go to the 49 for a first down. Here's Redmond. That one partially deflected, and it's caught. Stokely at the 40. That ball hung up in the air for an eternity, and somehow Brandon Stokely was able to haul it in. A gain of 13.
And Chris Redmond gets popped, and that ball is floating like a butterfly across the middle of the field. I think Julius Pepper's got his arm in there. You see him coming from the outside. Look at that ball. That looks like how I throw a pass. And you see Brandon Stokely keep his eye on the ball and come back. Here comes Peppers on the outside. Watch him get Redmond's arm right there. And that ball was just floating. It looked like Stokely was the only one that picked it up, came back to the ball, made the catch, huge first down.
Ravens keep the chains moving. This time Redmond down the sideline, Taylor. And this one out of bounds.
Boy, and Panthers got a break right there, blown coverage. Taylor was open, and Chris Redmond put a little bit too much air on it.
Excuse me, Ron Johnson was the intended receiver.
You saw Ron come back to the huddle shaking his head because nobody was around. The safety was late getting over. Reggie Howard, I don't know if there was a confusion between zone and man, but Reggie Howard let him off the line, and there was nobody around Johnson.
Ron Johnson already with the touchdown this afternoon, his first career catch in the NFL. 2nd and 10 at the 39. Play action. Redmond rolls, throws on the run, incomplete. That one off the fingertips of Brandon Stokely in front of Deion Grant.
And guess Travis Taylor was running down the sidelines with nobody. Watch this after the play action fake. It was a touchdown. His arm was up. Nobody was around. Reggie Howard comes in. Hello, touchdown right there. Redmond didn't see it. You don't ever get that wide open in the NFL.
3rd down 10 at the 39. The Ravens are 4 of 8 on 3rd down conversions. Here's Redmond. Here comes a blitz. It's deflected at the line of scrimmage, and I believe it's Deion Grant that got a hand on it.
And Deion Grant coming from that safety position right up the gut. And that's what you got to do to a young quarterback. You got to put hands in his face and put pressure on him. And it's not necessarily Chris Redmond's fault, but a lot of adjustment goes into that. And what, Gus, we got the old swinging gate here on the punt.
And they told us that the Ravens are trying to get the Panthers to maybe burn a timeout. Zastadil, end over end kick, fielded at the 18 by Smith. A 21-yard punt as Chris Redmond takes a seat. His team down by 3.
Wednesday at 8, 7 Central.
9:11 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and the Panthers hold on to a 10-7 lead as Rodney Peete and company break to the line of scrimmage at their own 19. Wesley Walls in motion. They pitch it. Lamar Smith around the corner with daylight. Smith still running out of bounds at the 31. And that is a first down. Lamar Smith picking up a nice piece of real estate, gaining 11.
And Gus are running to Todd Stussey's side, number 75. Watch the block down, little leg whip. Wesley Walls getting out on the corner, and there's Lamar Smith pounding it up inside. Big hole. If you can cut people down and get them on their knees, you're going to see some Ravens on the ground way back there. There's a lot of open space for running backs to run.
Lamar Smith, 13 carries, 58 yards. 1st and 10 at the 31. The pitch, Smith again follows his block, and he pops free. Smith dragged down from behind at the 45. Todd Stussey just laying people out on the field. It's a gain of 14.
I like that, partner. You saw the big former Viking get out there and get something. Watch number 75. He's going to pull right now. Get out there. Get him on the ground. That creates a hole. There you go. Big block by Todd. Lamar Smith pounded it up. Shoot, it's worked 2 times in a row. You think they're going to go for 3?
They probably should.
Maybe they'll go right this time.
They see something on that side. Smith, 72 yards rushing. 1st down 10 at the 44. Now Peete to pass. Dumps it. Smith, one-handed grab, and Smith is stopped by Ray Lewis, but he's close to a first down. Flag on the play, though, on the opposite side of the field at the 38.
And we're going to get a hold against the right side of the Panthers offensive line. And I see Chris Terry complaining, number 70.
Holding, 70, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
It's always the guy that complains.
And that's the third penalty of the day against Chris Terry. So he's going to have to do a lot of push-ups during practice this week. It's not too late. Fantasy football leagues are still forming. To sign up now, just click on Fantasy at CBSSportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
You know who my quarterback is this year?
Who?
Vinny Testaverde.
Vinny, and the Jets having their hands full with the Buffalo Bills this afternoon. Inside handoff, Hoover. And Hoover picks up a couple. Tell you, a good fantasy football pick may be Lamar Smith. The way he's running the ball, and he's a quiet, kind of a quiet hero. But year in and year out, the last 2 years, last year had over 900 yards rushing. The year before, a big breakout season for the Dolphins when he rushed for 1,139 yards and 14 touchdowns.
I'm just impressed with the way he's handled himself today. And in this whole Panthers team, they certainly don't look like a team that's lost 15 in a row coming into this game.
Second down. Play action. Pete and Rodney Pete wrapped up at the 30. Peter Bulware. And that's the first time we've really called his name. Peter, last season, 15 sacks to lead the AFC. And he played a lot of defensive line.
And he pushed Geno James right into the backfield, right into Rodney Pete. He just came the whole deal right there, and that's a shot. A little ankle tackle at the end after he threw his shoulder into Rodney and was knocking him down. But Peter Bulware led this team, led the AFC in sacks last year with 15. The 3-4 is going to even be better for him. He could end up with 20 sacks this year.
Got his first of the season. Third down, 23 from the 31. And they hand it off to Hoover. And Hoover keeps his legs churning, gets over the 35, up to the 37. Ed Hartwell in on the tackle, but the Panthers forced to punt.
And Gus, I don't know why they didn't stick with the toss left. Todd Stussy, Wesley Walls making some things happen. Lamar Smith, we saw it 2 times in a row, and they went away from it. Boy, the Ravens sure hadn't defensed it yet.
So Todd Sauerbrunn standing at the 22. Chris McAllister back at the 24. Wobbly kick. McAllister will get a chance from the 23. Trying to run outside. He's hog-tied and taken down at the 24-yard line. Rod Smart, remember him? The XFL, He Hate Me, making his presence felt here with Carolina.
So have it your way. You got to come into Burger King now for a great tasting deal.
You've got questions, we've got answers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the flame-broiled Whopper from Burger King, America's favorite burger. At BK, you got it. And by Smirnoff Ice, intelligent nightlife.
Beautiful panoramic shot of downtown Charlotte, and the Panthers have a 10-7 lead over the Ravens. Ravens with the football at their own 25. Reverse, Stokely. Can he get around the corner? Yes. Stokely down the sideline, still running, picks up a first down. Giving chase, Michael Rucker almost had Brandon Stokely. But Stokely turning on the Jets and picks up 14.
Brandon Stokely has a little bit of that jitterbug in him, Gus. He's tough to swing, to get a beat on. Watch him right here coming from the wideout position on the reverse, coming all the way around. Mike Flynn, 62, leading the way right here. And you see Brandon Stokely get caught up, push Mike Flynn. Get out there, big man, block for me. Finds a hole, sneaks down the sideline.
First down at the 39. Lewis, and Lewis breaking free, lowers his shoulder all the way down to the Panthers 45. Deion Grant with a saving tackle, but that's a gain of 15.
And I just love watching Jamal Lewis run the ball. A couple years ago when the Ravens won the Super Bowl, he was so impressive as a young man, a rookie coming into the league. Look at him. You would never guess that he had a knee surgery.
Never.
Ever.
Modern technology. Lewis, only 23 years old, came into the NFL as a 20-year-old out of Tennessee. 11 carries, 50 yards. Now Redmond fires. It's caught this time. Ron Johnson Jr. And I tell you what, Chris Redmond likes Ron Johnson Jr. He's looked for him often this afternoon. And the big, rangy receiver who set virtually every receiving record at the University of Minnesota is having a very nice outing thus far.
Well, over the years, nobody drafts better than the Ravens. They have done a great job. Ozzie Newsome, Brian Billick, the whole staff, finding that young man in the 4th round.
Jamal Lewis running straight ahead, maybe a yard.
And let's look a little sideline shot. Mike Rucker coming in from outside, taking the shot on Lewis, saying, hey, we've got to tighten this defense down right here. And, you know, Gus, this time of year, first couple games of the season, the starters haven't played a whole game. Everybody rests their starters during the preseason. So end of the 3rd, 4th quarter, guys are starting to suck wind a little bit out there.
2nd and 9 at the 31. Redmond out of the shotgun. Underneath, Lewis with the catch. And Lewis taken down by Morgan at the 24. And it's a gain of 7. But how about Chris Redmond? So far, they criticized him in the papers in Baltimore during the preseason. But he looks so poised, so confident, and relaxed out there.
Yeah, it's nice to have Jamal Lewis in the huddle.
Yes, it is.
And you got to give credit to Chris, too. We talked at the top of the show about decision-making. He hasn't forced the ball. He hasn't grounded the ball. He hasn't thrown into double, triple coverage. He's just made the reads like he's supposed to.
3rd down and 2 at the 24. Redmond, flag on the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, 80, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Brandon Stokely.
Cardinal sin right there. Boy, for Bill Walsh, if you ever, as wide receiver, jump the count, you got the death stare. Because the wide receivers are looking in. You're going on the snap of the ball. You're not going on the count. And the one thing today, with this game has been relatively mistake-free, although the Panthers 3 times have had penalties against them on 3rd down. We've seen the Ravens with a couple as well. You can't do that in crucial situations, especially from a wide receiver spot. That's just lack of concentration.
6 penalties, 45 yards against the Ravens. So instead of 3rd and 2, they'll have 3rd and 7 at the 29. Redmond pump faking, broken up. Terry Cousin ripping it out of the hands of the Ravens receiver, Travis Taylor.
And you know what? 3rd and 7 takes away any element of surprise. 3rd and 2, you can run Jamal Lewis. You can go play action. You can go quick route. You can go slant. But 3rd and 7, guys, you can't do that. Now they got to come in for the field goal. That was a crucial penalty.
So Matt Stover comes in to attempt a 47-yard field goal. Dave Zastidle is the holder. Zastidle gets it down, it's up, and it is no good. He pushed it wide. Matt Stover, who owns the NFL record with 38 consecutive field goals, misses his first. 10-7 Carolina.
Welcome to the barbershop.
His fade gonna be real smooth like Gary Coleman.
Do not get this fool started.
Where it's not about what's coming off.
Bless her.
It's about what's going down.
Hey! Ah, my finger! Ah, my hand!
From the producers of Soul Food and Men of Honor.
Wait, what kind of car is it, man?
Cameron.
Wait, now that's a good car. I got one of them.
Barbershop.
Who drank my apple juice?
Run! Run!
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, September 13th.
Today, your home is probably your best investment. So today, there's no better time to come to Lowe's. Lowe's has the full line of Pella windows and doors. Everything from front doors and back doors to colonial and French. And every kind of window you could possibly...
Premiere CBS Friday, September 27th.
Matt Stover was tied for 2nd in the NFL with 30 made field goals last season. 30 of 35. Missed his first attempt, though, from 47 yards in this game. And the Panthers take over at their own 37. Lamar Smith picks up a couple of yards and finally knocked backwards by Ed Hartwell. Hartwell has had a nice game We've called his name a lot this afternoon. Now see why The Late Show with David Letterman is nominated for 4 Emmy Awards. Catch an all-new week of Dave with great guests, big laughs, and, of course, an all-new top 10 list. It's all this week on The Late Show right here on CBS.
And you talked about Ed Hartwell being all over the field today. You know, the focus when you play the Ravens is always going to be on Ray Lewis. He's going to get double and triple team. And so Ed Hartwell, who had a great preseason, is making it happen in the regular season as well.
Second down, 7 at the 40. Play action. Pete steps up, fires to the sideline. Nice catch. Hoover turns it up and picks up the first down. Brad Hoover. 11-yard gain.
And they're giving the Hoove call here in Carolina. And the Hoove, Gus, he just catches that ball and lowers his head down, going into dump truck mode. You watch him catch the ball out on the flat. Rodney Pete.
I like that.
There you go. Dump truck mode right now. Lower the head and just run over people. Boom.
Dump truck.
So that's a great throw. Rodney Pete going through his progressions, hitting the check down. And I've been impressed today with the quarterback play in this game. It's been outstanding.
First down and 10 at the 48. Smith. Oh, nice stop and start. Makes Bulware miss. And then slides down at the 45.
And Peter Bulware can't get a break. Great penetration. He's in the backfield. He almost takes the handoff. And Lamar Smith does a little dance, little shake and bake, and sneaks out and gets 4 yards. And, you know, there's going to be some debate in Baltimore about this 3-4 defense. But I think really the
what do you think so far?
I think it's going to take time to roll into it. But the bottom line is their best athletes are linebackers. You gotta, if you can have more on the field, I absolutely believe that's the way to go.
Second down and 7 at the 45. The pitch, Smith. And this time, Smith chopped down by guess who? Ray Lewis.
There you go. Just talking about it. There's the 3-4. And, you know, we talked to Bill Cowher last year, head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who was the only other coach playing the 3-4. There you've got the guy over the center, guys outside, linemen on the tackles, right there with linebackers right there, 4-4-4. See, it allows the guards to get up onto your linebackers inside. They aren't as protected as they've been in the past with big Sam Adams and Tony Saragusa.
And that's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Panthers 10, the Ravens 7. We'll return to Ericsson Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the National Football League on CBS.
You know who the villains were. Now meet the heroes. Tonight on a 2-hour 60 Minutes with the usual cast, Mike, Morley, Ed, Steve, Leslie, and Andy.
WJZ 13 has the Wayne Brady Show weekdays at 9.
Start of the fourth quarter, and the Panthers with the 10-7 lead and the football, but they're faced with a 3rd down and 9 at the 47. I need to go to the Ravens 39 for a first down.
I'd look for Wesley Walls one-on-one versus a linebacker.
He's lined up, and Walls may have jumped.
He did. You know what? You know when you jump when you're a tight end? When they call your number. That's right, exactly right.
Prior to the snap, false start, 85, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
When another 3rd down penalty for the Panthers, and that's 4 today. Left side of your screen, watch Wesley Walls. Got a little forward lean, anxious, is going to call his number, going to make a move outside. He saw that one-on-one coverage. And he's a tough tight end to cover with a linebacker. I mean, that is truly a mismatch because he will get open.
Yeah, Wesley Walls, not only does he have great hands, but tall, long, gangly receiver. 3rd and 14 at the 48. Pete underneath, and that one right through the hands of Nick Goings. The Panthers forced to punt.
3rd down penalties will get you every time.
So Todd Sauerbrunn at the 31.
The buff punter, I like to call him.
Yeah, he's pretty buffed. This is his 6th punt. Chris McAllister stands at the 10. High spiraling kick. McAllister signaling for a fair catch, and this one takes a bounce and is down inside the 5. Great job by Gerard Cooper, a backup safety number 40, who kept it from going out of the end zone. A 47-yard punt for Sauerbruch.
Well, actually, they're now 5 doors down.
Carolina with the 10-7 lead. 14 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. And now the Carolina defense trying to get the fans in the end zone fired up. The Ravens are backed up with the ball at their own 5.
And Gus, we haven't heard from Todd Heap, the big tight end, for a while. Had some great success in the first half, moving the ball, using him play action and over the middle.
Here's Redmond passing out of his own end zone underneath Stokely with the catch and the first down as he turns it up and gets to the 20. A 15-yard gain for Brandon Stokely.
And Gus, you said it right there. He turned it up. I was very impressed with Brandon Stokely. Get the ball and get upfield. You see so much dancing around sometimes nowadays from wide receivers. Hey, that's not going to do anything but bring more defensive players into your area. Catch the ball, get upfield, split the defenders, get an extra 5 yards.
Stokely having a huge game, 5 catches, 78 yards. Now Jamal Lewis over the 20 up to the 24. Now don't forget, coming up next, a huge match between Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras in the U.S. Open men's final. These two guys first met in 1990 in the 1990 final when they were babies. Agassi was 20 and Sampras was 19. Second down, 6 at the 24. Redmond audibling at the line of scrimmage. Redmond underneath. Ricard, the fullback, with the catch, and he gets to the 30, make it the 31, and picks up a first down after gaining 7. Dan Morgan with the stop.
And Alan Ricard does a nice job of going into dump truck mode. Got that ball, burst it right upfield, ran over a couple of defenders for a few extra yards. That was a crucial first down right there. You didn't want to be third and short.
Here's a man that was out of football in 1999. Played in 5 games as a backup last year. Originally signed by Dallas. First and 10 at the 31. Lewis is smothered and taken down. He should lose a yard or 2. And it's Brenson Buckner with the tackle.
Brenson Buckner's made some big plays today.
Yes, he has. And a look at the Baltimore offense. Big days for both Chris Redmond and Jamal Lewis.
Yeah, and catching the ball, Jamal Lewis. Catch 4 receptions coming out of the backfield, and Chris Redmond continues to make the right read.
Here's Redmond getting rid of it quickly, incomplete. The pressure was on. That's because Mark Fields shot the gap and was bearing down on Redmond. And he wisely just dumped it. Brings up 3rd down and 11 at the 30. And the Ravens need to go to their own 41 for a first down. They're 4 of 10 on 3rd down conversions today.
Well, I'd say Brandon Stokely's the guy to hit coming across the middle, but we've seen Chris Redmond throw the ball to Ron Johnson Jr. here a few times today in crucial situations.
Redmond out of the gun. Redmond looking to the sideline. Taylor with the grab and the first down. Travis Taylor stopped on a dime, turned, and the ball was there for a gain of 17.
Gus, Travis Taylor outside running a comeback route. Watch Chris Redmond stand in the pocket. Pressure's coming, steps up and makes the big throw. Tremendous route outside by Travis Taylor, coming back to the sideline. And I like the way Chris Redmond's playing. And, you know, the preseason is the preseason, and all that's washed away right now. He's a young man making good decisions, and these wide receivers, these young wide receivers, are coming up and making plays for him.
First down at the 47. Redmond, this time to Stokely, who's chopped down by Cousin, but Stokely holds on to the ball. It's a gain of 5. Now let's go to New York and Jim Nantz.
All right, Gus and Brent, good to hear from you. And Indianapolis has regained the lead on Jacksonville as Peyton Manning hooks up with Qadry Ismail for the second time today for a touchdown. 21-17, they just started the fourth quarter. Now let's go back to Gus and Brent.
All right, Jim, Ismail, the former Raven, led him in receiving last year, had a 1,000-yard season. But right now they don't miss him. Brandon Stokely and company doing well. Redmond looking down the field, dumps it over the middle, incomplete. And Chester Taylor, the rookie out of Toledo, the intended receiver.
Now Chris Redmond impressed me right there with the throw that he didn't make. He went for that big, heavy sell of the play action, and they were trying to get Brandon Stokely deep to the post. The Panthers didn't bite, had double coverage deep, and he didn't just chuck it down long the length of the field and pray for his guy to come up with the ball. He saw it was covered. He hit the check down. It wasn't complete, but still comes back and has a third down instead of a big interception.
Third down 5 at the 48. They need to go to the Panthers 43. Here's Redmond looking to the sideline. Oh, almost intercepted. Terry Cousin was right in the hip pocket of Travis Taylor, and they say the game is a game of inches. He was about 3 inches away from a touchdown.
Now, when you run that square out on third down, you've got to come back to the ball. You see Travis Taylor starting to come back to the ball. But what a play on the outside. Number 21, Terry Cousin, breaking on the ball as well. Taylor did a nice job just to break up the pass.
Dave Zastudil back at the 36. This one, wobbly kick. Steve Smith fields it up to the 20, still running, breaks it back. Gets down the sideline, and finally wrestled out of bounds at the 31 by Chad Williams. A 30-yard punt, but a 14-yard return for the Pro Bowler.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nextel. Nextel, how business gets done. Zenith, the ultimate authority in high-definition TV. Digitize the experience. And by Miller Lite. Life is best told at a place called Miller Time.
Some winded Panthers on the sideline. That's the defense, the offense on the field. First down at their own 31. Chris Mangum in motion. Here's the handoff to Smith. And the Panthers want to eat up some clock right here. Now these two teams have met before. The day, September 9th, 2001, as Carolina, their last game, the last time they won was last year against Minnesota. And they lost 15 in a row after that.
That's a long losing streak, partner.
Yes, certainly is. Second down 7 at the 34. Here's Smith around the right side now. Stop and start goes down at the 36. So the Panthers came into the league in 1994, and they've been up and mostly down. Went to the NFC Championship, and then it's been downhill since then. What was the problem? What contributed to the downward spiral, Brett?
Well, I actually first have to go ahead and say what a great job Jerry Richardson did building this team, because coming out that 95 season, winning 12 games and going to the conference championship, and they were in our division with the 49ers, and I'll get back to the story after this play.
Here's Rodney Peete underneath, caught, and it's Muhsin Muhammad, and Muhammad may have tweaked something. Getting up slowly.
And you know, I'm not a big fan of not getting far enough on third down. You got to get to the first down marker. Makes no sense to run a route a yard short, especially in a tight game like this. You got to know where those first down markers are.
Sauerbrunn at the 25. McAllister back deep, fair catch signal at the 15, a 44-yard punt. So with 8:40 to play in the fourth quarter, both of these teams still kind of jabbing at each other. Panthers up 10-7.
Yo, Busta Rhymes, I'm a huge fan. Thank you. I'm on a date with this honey, Erica. Right. Man, you could hook me up if you came by the table and said hi. See what I can do, man. Yo, for real? Yeah. Yeah, man.
10-7, Carolina with the lead. 8:40 to go in the fourth. Ravens with the football at their own 16. And they hand it off. Jamal Lewis trying to get outside. Gets close to a first down as he is tackled at the 25-yard line. Jamal Lewis continues to pick up real estate, and the Ravens continue to move the ball.
And he looks as quick as I've ever seen him and watch him. He is not indecisive at all. He sees the hole, he hits it. You see those quick legs pounding right through there, putting his head down. Looks like he's in mid-season form. And you know, the great thing about it is there's 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he's still going strong.
15 carries, 64 yards. Here's Lewis. Lowers his head and goes nowhere. Mark Fields met him in the backfield.
And Mark Fields has laid the wood on a couple of guys today.
And the Ravens, they've been able to move the ball on this Panthers team, Brent. But the Panthers playing kind of that bend but don't break style of defense. They haven't been able to capitalize on their ball movement.
Yeah, the Panthers, Gus, have really tightened up on their side of the 50, which has been a big bonus for their team. They just seem to all of a sudden put the clamps on Baltimore.
2nd and 11 at the 25. Redmond sets up with time. Redmond, and he's sacked at the 22. Braxton Buckner. We've called his name all day, and he gives up a little jig after the sack.
Let's watch Brenson Buckner coming in from the outside.
Brent, I think this is a coverage sack.
I think this is a coverage sack, Gus. You see, there's nobody to throw to. Chris Redmond doesn't throw the ball. Brenson Buckner coming back. And as an offensive lineman for the Baltimore Ravens, you did your job. Those wide receivers got to get open. Chris Redmond not forcing the ball. Brenson Buckner keeping that motor running, coming up with a sack.
3rd down, 14 at the 22. Here's Redmond out of the shotgun. Nobody to throw it to, and he's sacked again. This time it's Chris Jenkins. So the tackles, Brenson Buckner and Chris Jenkins having outstanding games today for the Panthers.
And coming into this game, Gus, one of the weaknesses that the league felt, you know, talking to coaches and players around the league, that one of the big weaknesses for this Panthers team was their defensive secondary, and I think they've risen to the occasion today.
Zastidal sends it away. Smith retreating, and that one goes off his leg and out of bounds. He caught a break because when it touched him, it was a live football. A 46-yard punt. Panthers with it right after this.
So that's your DirecTV system, and you're signed up with NFL Sunday Ticket.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. Movies, music, and exclusive sports from the leader in digital satellite entertainment. And by Staples 365 Savings. Yeah, we've got that.
6 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter, and John Fox and the Panthers only 6:34 away from their first win of the season. Fox's first win as a head coach. 1st down and 10. Draw play. Smith hopping through the hole, and Smith gets up to the 41. The newest survivors are headed to Thailand for an all-new adventure, but as the game begins, they'll face a surprise twist they could never have imagined. Don't miss the premiere of the all-new Survivor Thailand 1 week from Thursday on CBS.
Lamar Smith continues to pound the ball up inside between the tackles and make positive yardage here for the Panthers.
86 yards rushing, but more importantly, the clock continues to run. It's 2nd and 4 at the 42. Muhammad in motion. This time Hoover on the inside handoff. and he dives forward, will be about a yard short of the first down. Ray Lewis stopping him.
And you got to be impressed with what John Fox has done with this Carolina Panthers team, and a lot of it's about gaining confidence again. You see Coach Fox on the sidelines, and we were talking about a graphic a few series ago about the descent of the Panthers. They went out and spent a bunch of money on free agents and were good quickly, but then a lot of those guys have gotten old, fallen away, and here comes John Fox in this year, signed up, saved the day. You got to do it through the draft. You do it through getting some solid defensive players and making some things happen out on the field.
Mangum in motion. Inside again, it's Hoover, and he picks up the first down. Gets to midfield. Brad Hoover, a gain of 6.
The dump truck.
The dump truck is right.
Turn him loose. Put your head down and roll. And watch Brad Hoover. He's just going to pound it up inside. Nothing special. Here I come. I'm coming right at you. Look at the surge from the right side of that Carolina offensive line. We've talked about one of the most solid offensive lines in the National Football League, and Coach Fox told us he felt great about the way these guys have been playing.
First down at midfield. Quick strike caught by Smith, and Smith ushered out of bounds at the 48 by Ed Reed, the safety.
And I think Steve's saying, give me the ball. I'm hot. I'm warmed up. I want to go.
That stops the clock at 4:28. Ravens with 3 timeouts remaining. Panthers with 3 timeouts remaining. Rodney Peete started out hot with 73 yards passing in the first, but now here in the second half they've established the running game. As Lamar Smith carries, and he's tackled high by Ray Lewis at about the line of scrimmage.
And I sure enjoyed sitting down the other day with Rodney Peete and just talking football with somebody my age. Just a genuine guy, and had a lot to talk about. Had a few big events in his life this summer. Lost his father-in-law, Matthew Robinson, and I think a lot of people are well aware that his wife is Holly Robinson Peete. And just shortly after losing his father-in-law, which you could tell really touched him, he spent a lot of time talking about that. He had a newborn baby boy, and they named him after him, Robinson James Peete. Going to be excited to watch his dad throw a few balls this year.
Rodney looking to throw a good ball here on 3rd and 7 at the 47. And he calls a timeout. That's the first timeout called by the Panthers in the second half. 3:40 to go. Back after this.
On Justice for All Tuesday, Last Jag, CBS Tuesday, September 24th.
Tonight on CBS, it's 60 Minutes, followed by Everybody Loves Raymond, then Becker. And tonight, it's also CSI on a special night. 3:40 to go in the fourth. The Panthers with the 10-7 lead, and John Fox's team faced with a crucial 3rd down and 7 at the 47. They want to keep the chains moving and the clock moving. So Rodney Peete steps to the line of scrimmage. Lamar Smith, the deep man. There's Muhammad in motion. They run a reverse. Muhammad gets outside. He's got the first down and some. Muhammad down to the 30. Dalius Thomas with the tackle, but it's a 17-yard pickup.
Now that was a little bit of a slow start in reverse, but the momentum and the flow of this aggressive Baltimore defense allowed that to take place. And Gus, you're going to see Rodney Peete eventually leading the way. Let's watch the flow of these linebackers here for Baltimore on the initial around. You see everybody over this side, and here we go. Now here's Rodney Peete. Let's watch him down the sideline. Is he going to block anybody? Come on, Rodney, hit someone. Now you guys go ahead and do it. I'll just run down here in the end zone. Now that's a veteran for you.
First down and 10 at the Ravens 30. Hand off to Smith. Smith crawls forward and gets to the 26.
And boy, what a big call, Gus, on 3rd down. Getting that first down. And now the Panthers are in control of the clock, and the Ravens are going to have to start burning timeouts. 2:42 left.
And that's their first They have 2 remaining. 2:42 to go. Back after this.
There are times when the system can protect you. On September 27th.
10-7, Carolina. John Fox pacing on the sideline. He knows that he's 2 minutes and 42 seconds away from his first win as a head coach.
Boy, that was a gutsy call. 3rd down, run in the reverse.
And they run a reverse. 2nd down and 7. Smith straight ahead, nowhere to go. He is taken down at the 25. Maybe a yard on the play.
And the Panthers, Gus, are content to let that clock roll. And I think the Ravens are once again going to stop the clock.
And they use their 2nd timeout. So the Ravens have 1 timeout to go, as well as the 2-minute warning. And that brings up 3rd down and 5 for the Panthers at the Ravens 25.
They got a little bit of a decision to make here if you're Carolina. Do you want to throw the ball and risk an incomplete pass stopping the clock, or do you want to run the ball and let the clock run down to the 2-minute warning? I don't think the Ravens would use a timeout if they ran it. I think that they'd let it run down. And so if you're going to throw it, you want to make sure it's complete. Burn every minute, every second that you can off the clock. And Gus, 3rd and 5, I look for just a little stick out route. Wesley Walls runs this as good as anybody in the league. Run him on a little stick out route or just a little short hook over the middle, 5-6 yards, not a dangerous pass.
Walls lines up as the receiver in motion right now. And they pitch it to Smith, and Smith is taken down in the backfield. Great play by Gary Baxter.
And Gary Baxter, the big physical corner, he read that right now. The minute that pitch was made, bang, he's going to be right into your screen, getting right past Wesley Walls, who was shocked that Baxter was back there before the toss was even made. And that's a big play, but it's going to let the clock come down to the 2-minute warning, Gus, as the Panthers are getting ready to attempt that field goal.
So we have 2 minutes to go. Panthers will attempt the field goal as they lead it 10-7.
Today, your home is probably very personal.
CSI Miami premieres CBS Monday, September 23rd.
John Casey, the last of the original Panthers. During his career, he is 21 of 40 from 50 yards and out. This is a 50-yard field goal attempt. It looks long enough, but it is no good. So the Ravens still have life.
And not only that, Gus, good life with the field position they get from the spot of the kick right there at the 40-yard line. And I think as the coach of the Panthers, John Fox, says, hey, we can go ahead, we can get up by 6. You got to take that shot, especially Casey, one of the better kickers in the league. You saw he clearly had the leg. Just pushed it a little bit. And you see that ball just tail off.
Ravens in good shape. Even if he would have made the field goal, they still could have gotten back in this game with a touchdown. But now all they need to tie the game is 3 points.
And I think that's why John Fox attempted that field goal, because you don't let a field goal tie you. They would have had to score a touchdown to win, and right now the Ravens got good position.
So let's see what young Chris Redmond can do from his own 41. Draw play. Jamal Lewis didn't fool anybody. Gets to the 43 max. Dan Morgan with the tackle.
And we know the Ravens only have, Gus, 1 timeout left, so they've got to huddle on the ball. They've got to call plays at the line of scrimmage.
Redmond in the hurry up underneath Heath with the catch. He gets up to the 47. And now the Ravens burn their final timeout.
And you know what? I think that's actually a good timeout to take with a young quarterback. Teams get so caught up in getting on the ball and the time constraints that they forget it's 3rd and 4. We've got to get the first down. And so take a timeout. He's going to come back to the huddle. Coach Billick right now is telling Chris Redmond, we're going to call 2 plays in the huddle. So guys are going to know next time, if you don't convert on this 3rd down, Gus, the fans are going to go crazy. No one's going to be able to hear an audible at the line of scrimmage on 4th down. So he's telling them, hey, Chris, go into the huddle. We're going to call 2 plays. We're going to have a potential run, a potential pass. We're going to get up there. We're going to have to do it on the ball if we don't convert here on 3rd down.
3rd down 4 at the 47. Panthers showing blitz. They back out of it. Peppers gets to the ball. Picked up by Morgan. Dan Morgan down the sideline. And Morgan is tackled at the 15. But the rookie sensation finally comes up and makes a play. Julius Peppers out of nowhere.
And Gus, it was just a matter of time before Julius Peppers made his presence known. You saw him deflect one earlier. Here he comes, number 90. Whoops, we forgot to double team him. Bang, right into Dan Morgan's hands. And there goes Morgan, the other big play linebacker, right down the field.
And they're on their feet at Erickson Stadium in Charlotte. The Carolina Panthers are ready to snap a 15-game losing streak at the expense of the Ravens. September 9th of last year, the last time the Panthers won a game against Minnesota. They struggled during the preseason. Jack Del Rio left Baltimore, came over to Carolina as the defensive coordinator. They drafted Julius Peppers with the 2nd overall pick. And John Fox, their head coach, is literally 46 seconds away from his first win.
And every one of those players has talked about Coach Fox and how he communicates and how he's one of the guys. They really believe in this head coach, and this is a different Carolina Panther team this year.
John Fox and the Panthers defeat the Ravens. He gambled, went with Rodney Peete, the veteran, as his starter because he felt that Pete gave him the best chance to win, and he certainly did, as he gives Brian Billick a handshake, and he'll keep that ball for the rest of his life. First win as a head coach. So the enthusiasm is back in Carolina as the Panthers win it 10-7. Now let's go to New York, where Jim Nantz is standing by.
All right, say goodbye. Thank you, Gus, to that 15-game losing streak for the Panthers. John Fox wins in his debut there at Carolina, 10-7, just as it was at halftime. It holds up.